What up, everybody? Good morning and happy Wednesday. Dan Kasper Show on the air on your radio dials 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also available online, sportstalk1051.com. We've got the video stream up and rolling as well on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. All the Twitter looks kind of weird over there, but nonetheless, it's up on Facebook and YouTube for this morning if you're one of the regulars over there. But happy Wednesday. Appreciate you making us a part of your start on this halfway through the work week here. So we are inching a little bit closer and closer to the Masters and such. But how about those Brewers? What do we got on the game plan here this morning? Break up that Brewers offense. Holy moly. After dropping 10 runs on home opener Monday, Brewers followed it up by dropping 9 against the Mets. Max Scherzer got to start yesterday, but the Brew Crew shutting out the Mets again behind the home run ball and a solid performance from veteran Wade Miley, who got his 100th career win last night. He went 6 strong innings, 5 hits, 3 strikeouts. If you saw some of the velocity or exit velocity numbers coming off of some of the Mets hits off of Wade Miley, they were pretty low over there. But man, Rowdy Tellez, I mean, in the 6th inning, you went back to back to back home runs. Tellez, Brian Anderson, Garrett Mitchell, and then in the 7th, Brian Anderson and Garrett Mitchell decided, hey, we want one more piece. Well, they got themselves another dinger piece. So 13 total hits for the Brewers, 5 home runs total for 9 runs. Now, the Brew Crew will try to complete the sweep later on this afternoon. Got a day game before the Brewers will have an off day tomorrow. But, man, again, just how quickly things can change. Getting shut out opening day, finally scored their first runs of the season in the 8th inning against the Cubbies. And then it's like ever since then, they've put up what? Well, 3 runs in that second game of the series against the Cubs, and then 9, 10, 9. Not too shabby. Yeah, even Yelich getting in with a couple of hits against Max Scherzer there yesterday, too. Willie Adames collecting a couple hits. Rowdy Tellez picked up that home run. Brian Anderson continuing a solid start for him, too. 3 hits, including those 2 home runs with 6 RBIs. Garrett Mitchell, Bryce Terang, after his grand salami day, went 0 for 4, but still didn't strike out at all. And then Jesse Weimer, the youngster, collecting a couple hits again himself. And getting a walk. No offense to Luis Urias right now, but once he's ready to come up, or even Tyrone Taylor, I don't know if I want the Brewers to send down the youngster Weimer. I don't know if I want them to do that. I keep rolling with the hot hand right now. I go with the youngsters right now. That's just me, but how do you not? Last couple of games have been a lot of fun to listen to or watch. This is the biggest thing that Brewers fans had heading into this season. Offense. What kind of offense? And I know it's just 4 games. I'm gonna keep saying that. It's just 4 games. I don't want to overreact or anything like that, but geez Louise, it's been fun these last couple games here. So we'll recap the victory again last night for the Brew Crew, improving to 4-1 on the season, and taking a look ahead to this afternoon's matchup as the Brewers will try to complete that sweep, get an off day in, and then get ready for the Cardinals coming to town this weekend. Today's game, Corbin Burns is going to be on the mound, hoping to bounce back from that opening day loss against the Cubbies. The rest of the starters, in case you're just kind of wondering, Friday we're going to see Woodruff, Eric Lauer on Saturday, and then on Sunday will be Freddie Peralta. It was also a good night too for the Bucks. They picked up the W. Johnny Davis, hey, dude had a good night too with the Wizards, putting up 20 points. The former Badger there. But Bucks picked up the win and got the help that they needed. Philadelphia beating Boston. So that now means the magic number for the Bucks to clinch that number 1 overall spot in the Eastern Conference, 1, and they can get it done tonight as they take on the Chicago Bulls at home. So if the Bucks win tonight, they've got that 1 seed locked up in the Eastern Conference, and they've got 2 more to go. Memphis at home on Friday, then on the road against Toronto on Sunday. But I would have to imagine that if the Bucks were to get it done tonight, you're probably going to see some load management stuff and kind of making sure guys are going to be as healthy as possible heading into the postseason and such. Grayson Allen suffering, or he has an ankle injury. Pat Connaughton last night sprained an ankle too. So those guys hopefully are going to be able to recover in time, recover well enough to get in the postseason. But how about Jay Crowder starting off hot for the Bucks? He got in the starting lineup and 19 points. 19 points. 4 of 5 from deep from 3 last night. So hot start. Good to see that from Jay Crowder. Giannis doing his normal thing of another triple-double, 28 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists. Brook Lopez, 20 points. Drew Holiday, 26 and 10 assists. 1 rebound shy from a triple-double for himself. And then Bobby Portis coming off the bench and contributing 19 points too. So, again, Bucks tonight can wrap up that 1 seed in the Eastern Conference with a win if they take care of business against the Bulls at home. So we'll talk some Bucks hoops, preview that game coming up here tonight. And I mean, would you be good like if the Bucks, got the win tonight, got everything wrapped up, and we don't see Giannis until the postseason? Or are you one of those that, or one of those of that belief that you'd like him to get maybe some work in, him and Drew Holiday and such, get a little bit of work in on against Memphis or Toronto, so you're not completely rusty once the postseason starts? There's that mindset. There is that mindset. Maybe too much time off isn't the greatest thing, or are you of the thought like, no, get them all ready to go and get them as healthy as possible, get them as much rest as possible so they're fresh and ready to go for this postseason? Should also mention, too, Bobby Portis did put up 20 rebounds last night, too. Man, how does that – we've been talking about the MVP race, and Doc Rivers last night declaring it over after Joel Embiid put up 52 points for the Sixers, which, hey, I'm okay with them. We wanted the Sixers to win last night. But sixth man of the year, we should be focusing on that for Bobby Portis and getting him some more love over there. Because right now, if you're looking at the odds, depending on which services you're looking at, he's like at the 3rd best odds. Malcolm Brogdon's ahead of him, the former Buck. Emmanuel Quickly he's got the best odds right now. But Bobby Portis, come on, let's get some love for Bobby Portis out there for the 6th man. In case you're wondering, Emmanuel Quickly is, and it's not even close when you look at the Vegas odds. Quickly's minus 210 from the Knicks. Malcolm Brogdon plus 150. Then it like skyrockets. Bobby Portis plus 4,000. But heck, even Russell Westbrook's on this list. But Bobby Portis, man, what a find he has been for John Horst and the Bucks the last few years. Oof. Yeah, so we'll talk some Bucks hoops and such. Masters first round kicks off tomorrow. We've got the pairings and such, but I don't know. We might have to watch out for the weather when it comes to the Masters here. Hopefully something changes with the forecast. I know I was checking it last night. Well, I checked it yesterday, and I know DP was talking about it. Dan Patrick was talking about it a little bit, but the weather don't look that great for the Masters. Thursday, okay, it looks like they've changed it a little bit now. I'm on weather.gov. Thursday, mostly cloudy with a high near 86. Friday, slight chance of showers and thunderstorms before 9 a.m., then a chance of showers between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m., then showers likely, and possibly a thunderstorm after 3. So get those round in before 3. Saturday, I mean, they're pretty much guaranteeing they're saying 100% chance of rain on Saturday. and then Sunday's like a 60% chance. So I don't know. I want a sunny Augusta National. I want to see the azaleas in bloom and all that sort of stuff. But yeah. But the pairings are out, so we are getting set for the first round tomorrow, which means let's get your predictions in for the Masters. Who are you picking for this year's Masters? Send those puppies in. Hit me up with a text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. On Twitter at DANKASPER, Facebook.com/Casper Sports. Who are you riding with? You've got Scotty Scheffler. I'm looking at CBS Sports right now. Scotty Scheffler, best odds. Rory McIlroy, John Rahm, Jordan Spieth, Cameron Smith, and Colin Morikawa. But who are you going to pick? Who are you going to pick? If anybody's wondering, we've got where's T-Dub? T-Dub's got a 65-1 odds, which, if again, leader is Scotty Scheffler in terms of betting at a 5-1. But all right, we'll get those picks and kind of, you know what? Send me the picks. Give me your predictions, and I'll put it up on the board here. Okay, got the marker board up in the studio wall. It's empty right now. I need to write something under. I don't like an empty blank white board in the studio, so let's fill it up with some Masters picks. Okay, start sending me those over. Even if you're not a golfer, just come on, play along with us. All right. What else do we got? We got stock reports. Whose stocks are rising? Whose stocks are falling? You can send those on over. We'll get to another edition of Showdown, the years of 91 versus 73 coming at you. We're going to do a little sports vigilante. So we'll hit that up in the probably next hour or so. But let's get things rolling here on the leadoff. Let's talk a little Brewers. It's offense. Break up the Brewers offense, huh? Oh, where'd this team come from? Not only the Brewers offense, but hey, shutting them out. Shutting out the Mets the last couple of nights. Can the Brewers, behind Corbin Burns today, complete the sweep against the New York Mets? Can they actually get it done? It'd be a big early, very, very, very early season series sweep. And going in with a lot of confidence against the Cardinals, a team that they're probably going to be going back and forth with and competing for the Central. So let's talk a little Brewers to open it up. Then we got some Bucks chat. Bucks just one win away from that one seed, clinching that one seed. If they get it done tonight, do you play Giannis and Drew Holiday and Brook Lopez at all in the last two games? Or do you just sit them so that they're 100% or as close to 100% as possible? Or do you worry about a little bit of rust? Or maybe you're thinking, it's a best of series. It's not like a sudden death sort of thing like football, because you hear about that football, right? The whole bye week, too much rest. Is there any rust or anything like that? Since it's a best of series, they can get the rust off in game one and kind of play it after that. But how would you kind of play this out in the final two games, assuming the Bucks win tonight? You get Giannis a few minutes here or there, Holiday, Lopez, or completely shut them down. But let's talk some baseball first to open up things. Brewers offense continuing to hum. The pitching looking pretty darn solid too. We'll hit that up. Coming up after these quick words on the leadoff.
And the pitch. This one lined to right center and deep. Get up! Get up! Get out of here and gone! Ferrari Tellez! There's number one and a rocket out of here to the bullpen in right center. And the Brewers lead now 3-0. Tellez, no doubt about that, baby. Coming back on Anderson, the pitch. Hit to left center and deep. Get up! Get up! Get out of here and gone! Brian Anderson just hit one out of here, and they go back-to-back against Scherzer. Wow! He left one up and out over. And here it is. Hit in the air to right and deep. Get up! Get up! Get out of here! Gone for Garrett Mitchell. They go back against Max Scherzer. Tellez, Anderson, and now Garrett Mitchell. Wow. They're home and hot.
There's nothing better than hearing a Euchre call a back-to-back home run fest last night for the Brewers in the 6th inning there. And then, well, following that up in the 7th inning, Brian Anderson and Garrett Mitchell apparently wanted a little bit more. Wanted to wear that cheese head there a little bit more.
Swing and a fly ball center field. Backing up Nimmo. Warning track. Wall. Got again. Have a night, Brian Anderson.
Brian Anderson been pretty darn hot too, and then Garrett Mitchell had to get back on the party there, bus too.
Pitch. Mitchell to right. That one is gone. Back to back again.
Just a home run party last night at AmFam Field. If anybody was at that game, that had been a lot of fun, especially if you were at the home opener and last night's game. But what a night for the Brew Crew offense. Again, 5 total home runs, including that 6th inning back-to-back, and then the 7th back-to-back there. Wade Miley with a solid outing, picking up his 100th career opening win. So Brewers now 1 win away from sweeping the New York Mets, and they've got Corbin Burns on the mound later on today. 12:40 first pitch for the Brew Crew. Brewers also handing Max Scherzer the loss last night. But, I mean, where do we begin with this thing? By the way, it looks like the texting line's not opening or not really loading this morning. So until it starts to work, hit me up on Twitter or Facebook there, DANKASPER. But, man, what else do we say with this offense the last couple nights from what we've seen? Rowdy Tellez finally getting off the schneid and getting his first home run. Heck, even Christian Yelich getting a couple of hits and getting on base there after striking out 4 the other nights. Willie Adames collecting a couple of hits as well. But again, it's the new guys or the young guys kind of leading the charge yesterday. Brian Anderson, 6 RBIs, 3 total hits, including those 2 home runs. You had Garrett Mitchell with his 2 home runs. You had Joey Weimer, who also collected a couple of hits. Bryce Terang, he went 0 for 4 after going with his grand slam night the night prior, but didn't strike out at all. And it was before the game, the number, and I'm sure kind of looking, we'll see what the number is. Brewers only walked a total of 2 times last night. But before the game, the Brewers were tops in terms of walks per game too, being patient up at the plate. But again, it's Brian Anderson, it's Joey Weimer, it's Garrett Mitchell, the new guys coming in and helping propel this offense here a little bit. And that's where I know I said just a little bit ago, whenever Tyrone Taylor is ready to come up or Luis Urias is ready to come up, I don't necessarily want like Joey Weimer to be sent back down. I kind of want the youngster to stay with the ball club and to stay with the team. I want him to be able to, here for the long haul. And I mean, you see the defense that he brings, you see the arm strength that he brings to this team, and it's just a different vibe right now. It's just a different vibe, and I love it. And then you look at Brian Anderson. Brian Anderson, a guy that I know in spring training in the offseason, quite a few of you had asked or had said that I kind of like this guy as a maybe a hidden gem or maybe a little bit of a wild card type of player out there. That I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm curious about to see how this guy is going to do this year. And so far, I mean, 3 dingers, 10 RBIs, 8 total hits, 1.77 OPS of 579 on base percentage, 533. He's having himself a heck of a start to the season so far. So tip of the cap to these guys. 100% tip of the cap to these guys. And then Garrett Mitchell. You know, we saw a little bit of him last year. Got some excitement. Obviously, we know the speed is there. Getting in on the home run derby last night too. Even though Bryce Tereg didn't get much done at the plate. If you missed it, dude made a heck of a play defensively, coming from his second base spot to make a catch in foul territory. I think the official numbers were is that he covered like 125 feet on the ground, making that play right at the foul line, right between Rowdy Tellez and Joey Weimer. But it's that speed that we've talked about quite a bit, you know, leading into this season that these new guys, these youngsters kind of bring, whether it's in the outfield or in the infield. And it's been a lot of freaking fun to watch so far. And you know, kind of like their new home run tradition with the cheese head on top. You know, sorry, non-Packers fans who are Brewers fans, but I kind of like it's working. All right, it's working. Let them keep going with that tradition. And you know, we've been talking. Obviously, the attention is a lot on the offense, but you kind of look at the last couple of pitching performances for the Brewers here too. And I don't want to sell the performances of Freddie Peralta and Wade Miley, you know, short. And I think a lot of it's just because the question marks surrounding this team for a lot of Brewers fans has been the offense, like what to expect. So the fact that they've gone 10-0, 9-0 in the first 2 games at home, you factor in the last game against the Cubbies where they put up 9. We're geeked up about it. We're pumped up about it. We're excited about it. But I don't want to kind of diminish what the pitching has done for this team either. I know we talked a little bit about the bullpen the other day. And then you go in the game last night after Wade Miley throws 6 strong innings. The bullpen, again, not allowing a run. And it's just different guys are stepping up and getting the job done. Hopefully this transitions throughout the entire season. Hopefully it is something that is, you know, these early first few games are a sign of what the majority part of the season is going to be like. We'll see, but Wade Miley sure looked like his old self last night a little bit, didn't he? Going those 6 innings. The exit velocity off the bats from those Mets players is pretty darn low. I mean, that's typical Wade Miley stuff that we saw last night. And we were talking about it yesterday. If Wade Miley can stay healthy and he's that guy that when he is healthy and he's pitching at the level that we've seen the last few years, well, that's just another interesting wild card to add to the bunch. And he looked like it last night. He absolutely looked like it last night. But again, just how different the narratives have changed in just what a couple of games, what a few games can completely change that narrative, completely change the talking points. Opening day, nothing. 8 first innings of game 2 against the Cubs, nothing. And then it was like, You hear the old adage about, well, the first run's always the hardest one to get, or the first hit's always the hardest one to get, first touchdown, whatever. It was like, all right, that was kind of like the Brewers, it seems like. Getting those first couple of runs, all right, got the monkey off the bat, and then it just kind of like the floodgates opened after that. And what I've kind of liked, too, with these kind of blowout wins is that Devin Williams getting hit in that game, too, with that comebacker. They haven't really had to rely on tight closing situation. I know he was getting ready for, or he was getting warmed up in that game 3, Craig Counsell said, or he would have been available. But the Brewers really haven't needed him, so getting that extra rest there, too. Now you kind of wonder at some point if this continues, will he just get some work in to, kind of stay fresh and such. But right now, Brewers haven't needed him. They haven't needed him. Early confidence brewing for this offense. No pun intended whatsoever. Early confidence coming. Biggest thing is this something that can be maintained throughout the majority part of the season? We know there's going to be slumps. We know there's going to be, slow starts and all that sort of stuff. But, man, it's been fun to watch so far. Here's a couple of nuggets. Per Elias Sports, last teammates to hit back-to-back homers in back-to-back innings before Brian Anderson and Garrett Mitchell. You got to go all the way back to 1998 in the Atlanta Braves. Javi Lopez and Andrew Jones against the Expos on June 13th, 1998. Yeah, that's that was a while ago. What else? It's the first time in franchise history that the Brewers have shut out an opponent in back-to-back games while scoring 9+ runs in both games. Max Scherzer came into AmFam Field Miller Park with a 2.31 ERA and had yielded 4 home runs in 39 innings. Last night, he went 5 1/3, 8 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, 2 Ks, 3 home runs. List of Brewers. This was a little bit that's an older one there too, but this was from yesterday because I have a list up on some nuggets I wanted to get through. But this was from Bryce Terang the other day. Here's a list of Brewers rookies who have reached base at least 8 times in their first 4 games. So this was before the game last night. Bryce Terang and some guy named Paul Molitor. Not bad company. Where was the exit velocity? I had it written down here. I got to go through my notes here, see if I can find it. But anyways, they're pretty darn low. Should be. Where the heck did it go? Anyways, I'll get to it later on. So today we get Corbin Burns on the mound for the Brew Crew. You got to be feeling pretty good about your Brewers' chances of getting that sweep. Corbin Burns coming off of opening day. He's seen what this offense has been able to do, trying to get a little bit of a bounce back performance against the Cubbies. I feel pretty good about a sweep later on this afternoon. I feel pretty confident in it. I mean, I'm always going to be confident when Corbin Burns is on the mound, regardless of how he pitched the day prior. I'm always going to be feeling pretty darn good. Peterson is the other pitcher on the mound for the Mets here. If you're kind of looking at a little bit of history between the two in terms of lineups and these pitchers, Brewers have had some very limited success against Peterson. David Peterson. Now, when I say limited, it's because you got about 1 game's worth of numbers for some of these position players, but not bad games. Adames batting 405 at bats. Anderson 504 at bats. You got and the next one would be Voit, who's 405 at bats. Yelich is 250 and 4 at bats. Those are the numbers, but again, you're talking like 4 or 5 at bats, so not a ton of experience, like a game's worth. Mets players have a little bit more experience going up against Corbin Burns, obviously. And when you look at it, actually, there's a couple of players that really stand out in terms of success against Corbin Burns. One's Pete Alonso. Now, we know Pete Alonso's, he's a stud already, but in 12 at-bats, he's batting 333 including a dinger and 3 RBIs. Francisco Lindor has struggled a little bit against Corbin Burnes. At 15 at-bats, he's 200. McNeil, 13 at-bats, 308. Nemo's 512 at-bats against Corbin Burnes. And then Vogelbach, 9 at-bats, 222. So you got a little bit of a mixed bag. There's 4 players who have double-digit at-bats against Corbin Burnes. But you know what? I'll take my money on Corbin Burnes today. I'll take it on Corbin Burnes anytime he's on the mound. I'm feeling good. Peterson, left-handed bat, so adjust your lineup predictions for the Brewers' batting order or batting lineup predictions accordingly. That's the thing, too, is like this Brewers lineup, you can get a couple of different variations into it. Craig Counsell can mix things up and take advantage of that. Here are the numbers, the exit velocities of the Mets' 5 hits off of Wade Miley. 60, 69, 85, 76, 78. That's it. That's it. But that's typical Wade Miley fashion. He's not going to give you a lot of strikeouts. He's not going to, put up double-digit strikeouts or anything like that. Not going to necessarily overpower you. But when he's on, that's the kind of stuff that he can do to teams. So I'm predicting a sweep. At the beginning of the series, I thought, okay, taking one against the Mets, getting one win against the Mets, maybe dropping this series, but already winning the series, and now with I think a good chance to sweep it. That's a heck of a start to the season for the Brewers. And coming into this series against the Cardinals this weekend, flying high with a lot of confidence, baby. Heck yes. Who's impressed you the most so far to start this very early Brewers season? Who's impressed you the most in the first 5 games? Or what's kind of stood out to you? Now that, we've been through one turn of the rotation, we've gone through that. If there's a guy, or if there's a player that has stood out to you the most, who has it been? I know we did like the first take of the opening weekend and such. But if you had to do like a, first time through the rotation, if that's kind of like, all right. Is anything or anybody kind of stood out to you the most? I think for me, it's just the group of the new guys. That includes the youngsters and the guys like a Brian Anderson and Jesse Winker. That, to me, is what's standing out. But I think the underrated talk here is the performance from the pitching staff, including the bullpen, too. Outside of, Corbin Burnes with that opening day start, Freddie Peralta looked good. Wade Miley looked good. Bullpen, they haven't really haven't taxed too much in tight situations. But last couple games, haven't given up on any runs. Got to tip the cap to them. Fun start to the season. Really fun start to the season. All right, let's take a quick break here, and then coming up, let's talk some Bucks. Bucks, one win tonight against the Chicago Bulls, and they're going to have the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference with 2 to go. If the Bucks win tonight, how do you play out these final 2 games? Do you get Giannis and Holiday, Brook Lopez, maybe a little Middleton? And I know he didn't play last night, but do you get those guys at least a few minutes in each game, or do you completely shut them down and strictly focus on the postseason? And how much do you factor in like going into the postseason? Because I mean, you look at what the Bucks have been doing, as of late too. These last couple games, beating Washington, beating Philly. They did get dominated by Boston last week. But would you rather go into the postseason, too, on a high note, winning your last couple games, or does that not really matter too much in your opinion? The momentum factor. Do you think there is momentum when it comes to the NBA playoffs because you have these best-of series and such? Do you think that really matters? I think it matters in baseball for sure and football. I think it matters in the NBA. you're Budenholzer and you're the Bucks, how do you play out these last couple games? Assuming, and I know it's dangerous to assume, but assuming the Bucks will get a W tonight, how do you play out the rest of the season, regular season? Take a quick break. And then we'll finish up the first hour already. Don't forget, hit me up with a tweet or Facebook message or comment on the video stream. Stock reports. Who stocks up, who stock is down. Coming up Friday, we're just a couple days away. Reminder, we will be at Hy-Vee doing the show. Gonna be doing a show starting at 6, go up till 9. I think Brandon and I will do the podcast right after that. But the putting contest, I'll be going on from like 6A to 10A over at Hy-Vee. So big shout out to our friends from Carpet City Flooring Center who will be there too. They're the ones who custom built this thing. It's going to look fantastic. I've seen some pictures of it too, but they'll be setting it up early Friday morning over there. Shout out to Matt and Ben and company over there that'll be helping us out. So the dealio here is you're going to get 3 putts. Reminder, 3 putts, and just trying it, you're going to get a raffle ticket in there. If you make a putt or if you make a couple of putts, you're going to get more raffle tickets for your chance to win some prizes, including a brand new Odyssey driver, a new Callaway driver, some other stuff from Hy-Vee and such. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I know it's going to be a little busy there too. So if you can stop by, hit your putts. Maybe if you have the day off, or maybe the kiddos have the day off. I know the Eau Claire School District at least has that off. Stop by, hit your putts. I'll try to, wave and say hi and that, but I know everything's going to be kind of moving fast and be a little busy, but should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it, and we should have, hopefully, if the weather cooperates, there'll be some rounds or some of the featured groups out on the course too. Those were announced yesterday. Let me see because you can follow online the featured groups over there. I know they had the champions dinner last night too, but looked like Phil was in there, DJ Dustin Johnson, Sergio, and such. But you can follow some of the featured groups on the Masters website, which we'll probably be doing tomorrow morning when we're on the air. Kind of watching that in the honorary tee shots and all that fun stuff. But where is it? I'm scrolling through because Masters just constantly post stuff during this week, which is totally get. Okay. So I was looking at, here we go. We got Tiger Woods featured groups. Watch all 18 holes. Yeah. So featured groups, you got Tiger Woods, Victor Hovland, Xander Schauffele, Justin Thomas, John Rahm, and Cameron Young. That's a good one. Scotty Scheffler, Max Homa, Sam Bennett. Another good one. Jordan Spieth, Tommy Fleetwood, Tony Finau. So I don't think, you don't have a whole lot of live guys on there. It seems like. Anyways, don't forget to give us your Masters picks. Okay. Marker Studio with some Masters picks. Hit me up on Twitter at DANKASPER, or post on the Facebook page, facebook.com/Casperts on the video stream there. Again, like anybody else on social media getting like a ton of spam, whether it's like on Twitter or instant messages, or what do they call them, direct messages, and Facebook instant messages. I'm getting like a lot of bots and spam stuff on there. So try to post on the page or the video stream, or tweet at me so I can get it right away. But we'll check it out here in a little bit. Bucks win last night. Got to give a shout out to Johnny Davis. Johnny Davis, former Badger, put up 20 points last night against the Bucks. Got to give a tip of the cap to him. Tip of the cap to Johnny Davis. But Bucks picking up that win with Jay Crowder, who had himself a game last night. Not a bad start, or I should say, he started off hot in the game for the Bucks last night. Finished up with 19 points, 9 rebounds. You had a couple Bucks players who were, like 1 rebound or 1 assist away from either a double-double or a triple-double. Jay Crowder, 19 and 9. You had Giannis with his triple-double, 28, 11, and 10. Drew Holiday almost had a triple-double, 26 points, 10 assists, 9 rebounds. Bobby Portis was just crashing the boards last night, 19 points and 20 rebounds off the bench. We've been focused on the MVP talk, and Giannis deserving to get a little bit more credits or a little bit more attention, maybe. Bobby Portis, to me, needs to get a little bit more a talk for the 6th man of the year. You look at the Vegas odds, it sure looks like it's not going to happen. It looks like it's not going to happen with Vegas odds, but nonetheless, Bobby Portis has been fantastic this year. A lot of guys having some of their best, I would say, best career years. Drew Holiday, Brooke Lopez, Bobby Portis. Giannis is just, doing his thing and such, but they've been a lot of fun to watch. A lot of fun to watch. So Bucks, thanks to the 76ers picking up the win last night against the Boston Celtics. Bucks get that W tonight. They will clinch the 1 seed. I have to imagine then after that, the Bucks will probably do some load management in the final 2 games. Apologies to anybody who might be going down to that Friday game against Memphis. Hopes to see Giannis and John Morant and such. But if anybody's dinged up, like Grayson Allen, Pat Connaughton sprained his ankle last night. Giannis, I'm assuming, is going to get some load management under Chris Middleton with the knee, Drew Holiday, Brook Lopez. All those guys are probably, going to be getting a little load management, getting some time off. Maybe they play a few minutes here and there just to kind of keep the rust off, but I wouldn't expect a whole lot. You got the 1 seed. We've heard it. Health is the most important thing. I think the Bucks would probably be stupid to push any of their main guys in these final 2 games if they got everything locked up. I mean, if we're seeing Giannis play 30-plus minutes in like against Memphis and Toronto, and they've already got it locked up, I'd be questioning what Mike Budenholzer is doing. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I want him fresh and ready to go and hit this postseason on a high note. Coming in hot. But got to take care of business first. Got to take care of business against the Bulls tonight. Don't take it lightly. Don't overlook them. Bulls right now, they have clinched a spot in the play-in tournament. So, I mean, they technically, I guess, could move up a little bit in the play-in tournament. They're at that 10th spot, but they're 2 games back from both Toronto and Atlanta for 9 or 8. So, I mean, they've got a little bit of play for to try to climb up in there. They'll still need some help, but they're in it. We pretty much, we know the teams now in the Eastern Conference that are going to be in it. You look at it, some haven't clinched whether it's going to be, in the first 6 or whether it's going to be in the play-in time, but we know all the teams in the Eastern Conference that'll be in the postseason right now. Let's finish up the first hour with Morgs. Good morning, Morgan.
Hey, Kasper. How you feeling? A little soggy?
No, I'm good.
No?
Yeah.
Are you a spring guy?
I love spring. I wish we actually got spring.
Okay, so whatever's happening out there, like the spring tour mix where it's acting like spring on the calendar, but not so
Melt
much.
the snow. We had a sweet lightning bolt and thunderclap yesterday.
Did you? I didn't see that.
You didn't hear it?
No.
How did you not hear it? It was like scared the cat and dog.
Okay, so you must not have a mud issue in your yard.
No.
Because we got a mud issue, which takes the fun out of spring really fast.
Do some yard work.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I know we're slacking. Got the Wednesday wild card here. That means we're going to shuffle up this deck of random questions, and I'm going to spread and fan the cards out. Kasper's going to come back with one, and he's going to talk to us today. Tell us a little bit about what's inside that sports head of yours. All right. If you could sit down, have a beer with one cartoon character.
Oh, cartoon.
Who would it be? Think back. You're a Turtles guy, but would it be the Turtles, or would you go a little bit different here with the cartoon
Depends
characters?
on, Turtle movie wasn't cartoon, but cartoons was Turtles.
Okay.
They're teenage. They can't have a beer. They're the teenage.
You're right. You would have to get a kitty cocktail.
Roger Rabbit.
Why?
Because I used to watch that movie as a kid too.
Okay.
And he seems like a guy that would get a little crazy.
Yeah, well, definitely. Are you inviting
And then maybe to see his wife too.
Okay, I was going to say, you're going to invite Jessica along for the ride?
Yeah.
Buy her a drink too?
Yep.
All right, we're going to go back into the Wednesday wildcard pile, digging Kasper's head a little bit. What is your most urgent priority for the rest of the year?
For the rest of the year?
Do you have an urgent, do you need a new vehicle? You can upgrade your golf clubs?
We got to finish up some stuff in the house.
Okay,
put up it's bugging me now because we need our shutters back up there, and I got to put the shutters up there.
Why are you a shutters guy?
Because we had them, but then we got it re-sided, and now they got to be put back up.
Just for aesthetics or
Veronica's
function?
bugging me about it.
It's bugging you.
Yeah.
Oh, so you got to get it done.
Yeah.
All right.
Then we got to do some painting around a window because it doesn't match.
I tell you something. I am the absolute worst painter on the planet. I just painted.
I hate painting.
So do I. I just painted. We had a downstairs project that's taking, 6 years at this point. So I went to paint a wall. Not only am I bad at it, I don't like it. And the worst thing you can do is try to rush an edging.
Yep.
Yeah.
We got
same.
Our front living room window is a bay window. So we got new windows. It's white. This one is still brown. So we're going to paint it. but it's very hard because we're on a hill,
Yeah.
and I got to figure out how to do it.
I'm telling you, people that are professional painters and professional movers, those are the two jobs
Yeah,
that
if anybody wants to volunteer to paint that window for me, I would love it.
that
So, yeah.
Oh, I see what you're doing now, self-interest.
All right, second hour kicking off on this Wednesday morning, making the turn Wednesday. Appreciate you all tuning in wherever and however you may be tuning in from. We'll check out, see if that texting line is loading up here in a second, see if we got anything waiting in there. We're going to do a little sports vigilante coming up in about 15 or so minutes. Next hour, we'll get to another edition of Showdown. This morning's years that we're going to be doing battle with is going to be 1991 versus 1973. So 91 versus 73. We'll get back to some more baseball talk and Bucks chat. Obviously, Brewers going for the sweep today against the Mets. Corbin Burns on the mound. Bucks can pick up that 1 seed with a win tonight against the Bulls, thanks to the Philadelphia 76ers helping them out last night, although Bucks helping themselves out too with a win against the Washington Wizards. Let's kick off this hour like we normally do with some sports nuggets of the day, brought to you by Ansay Associates. 1965, the color of the NFL penalty flags used by officials was changed from white to bright gold. 1967, Wilt Chamberlain set an NBA playoff record when he got 41 rebounds in a game. Let's go with 1970. Bobby Orr became the first NHL defenseman to win the Art Ross Trophy as the NHL's top scorer. We got 1984. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar became the all-time NBA regular season scoring leader when he broke Wilt Chamberlain's record of 31,419 career points. We know LeBron passed Kareem this year. What else do we got? 1999, Barry Bonds was walked intentionally for the 270th time of his career. He passed Hank Aaron on the all-time list. Those are just some of your sports nuggets of the day, brought to you by Ansay Associates. Going through a couple of these. Reminder, we're going to go. We want to your Masters picks with the first round teeing off tomorrow. We've got a few Rory McIlroys. Surveyors going with Tony Finau. We got a couple of Scotty Schefflers. We even got a Cameron Smith on there. Nobody so far is picking Tiger Woods to get that W. I want to ask a question to all of you, and I'll bring Luke in on this one. So, Tiger, we know Jack Nicklaus said a couple weeks ago that Tiger Woods told him he expected to play on the PGA Tour's champion. Tiger yesterday hinted at it, saying that this is from Gary D'Amato, quote, he gets a buggy in 3 years, meaning a cart when he turns 50. Will we see him at the 2026 AmFam Championship in Madison? As Gary D'Amato said, he loves Steve Stricker. So my question would be, to anybody who hasn't seen Tiger Woods in live person yet, would that be a must-watch for you if Tiger Woods was playing in a Champions event rather than a PGA event?
I'm not entirely qualified because I have seen him.
I have not seen him in person. So I will tell you that I would 100% go and watch him in person.
Right.
I don't care. Like, I know it was a debate about the whole Kobe thing, at the end of his career. It was a hot ticket. Will you go and see somebody at the back end of their career and pay boatloads of cash to go see them, even though they're not at their prime or anything like that? I would 100% do it. If I've never seen that person play, if I've never seen that top athlete at one point in their careers were one of the best of all time, and I have not seen them in person, and I had an opportunity to see it just one more time, I would 100% do it.
Well, my analogy would be to a musician that's been around for a long time and is way past their commercial peak, which that's happening with a lot of 60s, 70s, 80s artists right now. You grew up listening to them, and they haven't had a hit since 1985, but they're on tour. Do you not want to see them? I think most people do. I mean, Phil Collins is the great example. I think most of us know Phil Collins, not in the best of health over the past several years, needing the stool and using the cane, very slowly moving around on stage, not even close to the energy that he had back when he was everywhere on the radio. But when he had that solo tour that went to Minneapolis back in 2018, I knew what I was getting into. I knew that his voice wasn't anything close to what it was like. I mean, A-B comparison, you're like, what? Same person? I went because this was my first time to see one of my favorite artists. And that's the analogy is perfect for Tiger Woods. I would hope anyone who liked Tiger Woods, you know what, even if you're not a fan, just as long as you acknowledge the greatness of him, and I think everyone does, go see him. Say that you saw Tiger Woods with your own eyes. I mean, it's great if you saw them in their peak, but at least see them do something that's in the ballpark of what they did, because that's still better than most others would ever be able to do at their age.
I think a lot, too, is you look at how many opportunities has Tiger been in the state of Wisconsin. You know, you look at Whistling Straits. Yes, he's been there a couple times. Obviously, he made his debut at the Greater Milwaukee Open, but nobody probably knew Tiger. I think a lot of people knew Tiger was going to be a good golfer, but maybe to this level, probably not, you know, looking back at it and such. So I think a lot of it, too, is like you look at the opportunities, how many of you actually, or Minnesota, depending on where, because I look at it when I was a kid, I was more central Wisconsin. So, I mean, Minnesota was far away from me. So, but I know some people probably saw him cross the border in Minnesota and such, but
you look, I saw him. That's the 2 times I saw him was at in Chaska.
You look at the opportunities of how many times he's actually maybe been in the area, and I would say it's more limited than, you know, like a Kobe when he played, you know, coming to either the Timberwolves or the Bucks or something like that. You know, you had to wait almost once every few years or so.
Literally, how many times has Tiger Woods been in the state of Wisconsin?
Can I see how many tournaments he's played? Tiger tournaments might be a lot.
And all of them, of course, would be way further downstate. Like he's not coming to Wild Ridge. He's not coming he's not coming to any of ours.
Mm-hmm.
Be awesome if he did. He's never coming anywhere close to Eau Claire.
No. I'm just kind of, yeah, this is going to take me a while.
I was going to say, like, how often has he been in Wisconsin? Like, it doesn't feel like it's been that much, really.
Yeah, Greater Milwaukee Open was 96, debuted as a professional at that tournament. But, you know, I know, like, Whistling Straits, when they first came, you know, that was, when was that? That was like 05? Was that the PGA Championship the first time I was over there?
Yeah, I don't
04,
remember.
05?
Somewhere around there. Because if I recall, it wasn't that long after.
And he wasn't Tiger.
Chaska.
You know, he wasn't like Tiger. Vijay Singh won that, but I think that was like during a stretch where Tiger was struggling a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll have to look this up. I think it was 04. Yeah, it was 04. He finished tied for 24th in that one. Yeah. Because I know that was like the first big one, because I just graduated high school in 04, and there was a lot of talk from, you know, a lot of us going over there, but I never went, so I missed out on that one. I think Vijay Singh won that year. So
you definitely would be going, presuming there's nothing else that keeps you from going.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely,
if I had that opportunity, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Did he play at the Erin Hills U.S. Open? I don't know if he did. What year would that have been again?
From what I can tell, that was 2017. And this was the first major in which neither Phil Mickelson nor Tiger Woods ...
Okay. So, no, he didn't play at Erin Hills either.
Yeah. He was not.
Okay. So, really, it's only Whistling?
Yeah.
Even like if for and then, Greater Milwaukee Open.
Wow. Yeah, it hasn't been. It feels like he's not been here a lot. And then, of course, I'm like, so how often has he literally been in the state for any reason? And I mean, maybe there are other business reasons or checking out golf courses, but as far as I know, I'm not sure how often he's been in the state of Wisconsin for anything.
Minnesota, I mean, you would obviously that is more in play probably for here,
right,
across the border over there. But
yeah,
as you mentioned a couple times over there, has he ever played the 3M? Do you know off the top of your head?
I don't think so. When that started to become a bigger deal, I think that was when he was still in his.
Because those are right after majors too, and I don't see him playing a whole lot after the week after majors.
Yeah, I know like in 2019 there was it's not official, but Tiger Woods indicates he won't play. No, I don't think he's ever played there. Because again, it's built up in significance, but that also coincided with when he was having more and more difficulties playing the sport. So no, I don't think he's ever been in the 3M.
Yeah. I know you mentioned the other day too, like, I mean, he flat out said in one of his pressers with the Masters this week that he does play better when he rides in a cart, because of the walking. The walking is the biggest issue. I think if he applies for an exemption, he might get a cart But does that kind of like the fact that he refuses to do that he won't ride a kart when he's competing in majors and PGA Champion or PGA Tour events, does that kind of increase his like, I don't know if likability is the right word.
Yeah, because
You
I
know
was
what I
thinking
mean?
the other
Like-
way around. If he's in a cart, like Tiger Woods is in a cart, like that already takes the sheen off.
Mhm.
Even if he performs better, it's but well, I mean, remember how many times we've gone through the whole they need a cart thing for other golfers over time, and that becomes really controversial. And they're obviously every golfer short of Jack Nicklaus and a couple others are lesser than Tiger Woods. So if Tiger Woods did that, I mean, I guess if we need new Tiger Woods content, that would be a way to do it. But it would hurt, I think, for a lot of golf. Maybe I don't know about. Okay, does diehard golf fan look at Tiger Woods in a cart different from casual? I just watched the 4 majors golf fan.
I think so. I think they would.
Do they prefer it less or do they understand it more?
Because who was that golfer that was, man, I was in high school when it was that big deal. Remember
that's
that?
the one. And
it was actually, I think it was a teammate of Tiger's either in college or something like that. There was a connection. But it was a big deal, right? It was a big deal.
Casey Martin.
Casey, thank you. Yes. Tiger said, I'm trying to find the exact quote here. It's not loading up because this computer's just being dumb this morning for me. But I do feel like people will look at it more negatively, but maybe it's the diehard Tiger fans that'll be like, that want him to break that record. But here's the thing. Let's say if he rides a kart and wins 3 more majors or whatever, because he's riding a kart.
Mm-hmm.
People are going to put an asterisk next to it.
Of course. This is getting into the territory of player goes to team to get championships, even though they're a bit roll, but now say, now I won 5 championships. Yeah, well, 2 of them you played 15 minutes a game. Mm-hmm. That's what it is at that point. I would kind of rather not see that. And the thing in Casey Martin's case, he was dealing with like disabilities.
Right.
Tiger Woods is just, that makes him feel better. Well, what about everyone else? I'm sure there are other people that maybe they haven't, done such torque to their bodies the way that Tiger Woods' body was built. We're dealing again in unicorn territory here, so you can't make a direct comparison. But you don't see others doing that. Yeah, I would generally be against seeing that. Mm-hmm. It feels a little. It feels a little cheap. Mm-hmm. But I get why he would. But if he wants to compete and he feels he could do better, look, it's his choice. If he wants to do it, fine. But that's going to be the perception.
Yeah, and I feel like too that was almost kind of like Tiger. I think is a very traditionalist when it comes to golf. Mm-hmm. He's not going to do anything to ruin the history or the tradition of the game.
So does this mean that he could help to normalize the use of carts in
I guess if he wanted to look at it that way, he probably could.
If anyone's going to, yes, he'd take flack. But on the other hand, hey, Tiger Woods used a cart.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty good thing. You can.
Hey, if golf ever wanted to increase the pace of play, carts would be, mandatory for everybody then at that point.
And I've never really had a problem with the pace of like a golf as a spectator, as an at home spectator. It's no problem because there's
so many groups you can go back and forth and you're not really waiting on somebody to hit.
Golf is basically the original red zone. Never realized that until right now.
That's a good analogy.
But that's totally what it is because there's always something happening. You can always have something a little bit on tape. Now, if you're there in person, they're coming through. But I never got. If you're walking around and following, then it's no problem. Now, when it was at the 2009 PGA Championship, I was stationed on one green, and I never felt, and I was there solo, so there I should really be able to tell if something's dragging. And I don't recall feeling that it was slow. I think because it was still the sense of, what's this guy going to do? Sure, the walking up, that takes time. But if you're there, that's golf as it's always been. And I don't think the sport has gotten slower. It's not exactly like baseball where there's been a deliberate push to slow the game on the part of pitchers and batters and superstitions and prep and I don't think that's happened in golf. It's not like people just they used to just walk right up and hit, and now they take 5 minutes to prep. There was prep, but I don't think it's that drastic. Mm-hmm. I think it's fine.
We got a couple picks. Got another Rory on here. We do have a Tiger pick.
What?
I'm taking a fairy tale ending with Tiger. He gets one more Masters this weekend and rides off to retirement, seeing he hinted at his last Masters already this week. I'm assuming they're referring to the quotes when he was asked, because this is his 25th appearance. He said, "Yeah, I don't know how many more I have in me. So just to be able to appreciate the time that I have here and cherish the memories, it's really neat to be able to come here and play this course and see all the past champions. I know more guys on the Champions Tour than I do on the regular tour. So
whether he's, is
I think
gonna
if he
be-
wins, he's not retiring.
Oh, yeah, I don't think he does either. But weather is going to be a heck of a factor. I was listening to
Mhm.
the latest SV pod is Scott Van Pelt and Andy North just talking for 40 minutes about the Masters, which is, if you're a diehard Masters golf person, give that one a listen. It's a pretty solid preview, but weather comes up fairly early, and it's going to be a factor. And I think it was Andy North was saying that's the sort of thing that's not going to help someone like a Tiger Woods. Cooler temps, more prep involved, especially Saturday's for. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to golf on Saturday. The current forecast for Augusta Saturday, a 100% chance of rain.
Yeah, we were looking at that in the first hour.
High of 53, by the way.
Yeah, we were looking at the weather forecast and that. So, I mean, 2 rounds on Sunday would be like the worst thing to happen for Tiger.
I think, right.
If he makes the cut and then he's got to play 36 holes on Sunday.
Plus, there is, the rain chances on Friday pick up throughout the day. The best chances after 3 Eastern, so 2 Central. So they may not be able to, unless everyone starts really early. Thursday is going to be a dry, hot and humid. But Friday,
as long as Friday morning, they're good to go when we're doing the remote show during the putting contest.
Well, they say slight chance before. I'm going to do everything Central Time so we understand. Slight chance before 8 a.m. Friday.
Well, that's still good because they'll be teeing off before then. So.
Right, and then a chance of showers 8 to 2 Central Time, and then it picks up after 2 p.m. Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with the number of golfers, I don't know that they can finish everything. And once that gets going, based on the forecast, and these change, rain really doesn't stop until after 8 a.m. Central Time Sunday morning. I don't know if they're going to. This
pray to Bobby Jones and Arnold Palmer up there that the clouds in the heavens will part and
you're going to have to, yeah. Well, but that's the thing with someone like Tiger Woods. His at an older age, this applies to any older golfer that needs to have a very limber body. That kind of weather, even when it dries out on Sunday, still going to be 59. That's not going to be good for him. Mm-hmm. I think the weather's going to, like, Tiger Woods is completely off my board. I think a lot of, like, he wasn't exactly a favorite going in, but the weather reinforces that.
Yeah, Rory said he looks good. If he didn't have to walk up these hills and have all that, I'd say he'd be one of the favorites.
Well, the thing is, they said also, those two said Rory might have a better time because of that, because of his game, that because Augusta tends to get the ball bouncing a little bit more. Wet course.
It's not going to bounce a whole lot, though.
Right. And the other thing is, if it's like really raining and there's nothing happening and then you wait till everything dries up, then that neutralizes it. Anyway.
Tiger did say, I think my game is better than it was last year at this particular time. I think my endurance is better, but it aches a little bit more than it did last year just because at that particular time when I came back, I really had not pushed it that often. And I had a little window in which I did push it and was able to come back. Fast forwarding, I didn't really play a whole lot afterwards. Took a little bit of recover from the event there. So
also pretty strong northeasterly winds. Not really gusts, but it's going to be pretty Saturday. But again, I don't think that makes a difference. But Sunday could be pretty windy too. Even if it's dry. Andy North said if he had a $1 to bet and that's all he had money wise, he'd take Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah,
I think,
to repeat it.
Yeah, I'm hesitant to do a repeat, but I'm kind of leaning in that direction. Him or Xander Schauffele seems due. When is he going to finally break through and get this?
I'm going with somebody nobody has picked so far.
Okay.
I'm going JT Justin Thomas.
Really?
Yep. I'm going Justin Thomas.
Wow.
So
not a crazy pick, but that's a little out there.
You look at the odds; he's one of the top 10.
Right,
so yeah.
This is not a bad pick.
No.
Interesting.
I'm going JT. If I had to do another one, I might go Cameron Smith too. On there, but I've got a rule in my head. So if you're looking at Scotty Scheffler's got the best odds. I'll tell you who I want to win besides Tiger is Rory. I do want Rory to win besides Tiger, just to stick it in the live guys.
Yes.
I think Cameron, of all the live guys, I think Cameron Smith has the best chance to win.
Brooks Koepka's picking up too.
He is, but he ain't gonna. He'll make the cut, but he ain't gonna be in contention. That's my bold prediction. But Justin Thomas has 2020. Justin has the same odds as Xander Schauffele in terms of odds to win the Masters. So
I want to pick Xander Schauffele so bad, but why do I feel like he's gonna be that guy that's always like top 3?
The other guy that I want to win is Tony Finau too.
Yes.
I will be happy if Rory, JT, or Tony Finau win, or Tiger, of course.
Well, of course, yeah.
I do like Matt Fitzpatrick too, but that's all based off the documentary on Netflix, Full Swing. I'm picking guys off that. So,
all right, I'm gonna pick Xander Schauffele. Fine. I can't make up my mind, so I might as well, I can't do a back-to-back. I'm gonna go Schauffele. That's my pick.
Okay.
So of course, this is the year John Rahm is going to win. Then none of us are picking John Rahm, and so naturally,
because we got burned from it.
I know, and he's very, very good, but every time you pick John Rahm to win, he doesn't. Of course, this is the year he wins the Masters.
So I just kind of Googled something: best golfers to play in bad weather. This is from Southampton Golf Club. Tiger Woods is almost unbeatable when playing in windy conditions.
Oh, okay. So if he can get to Sunday, if
so, maybe Tiger is one of those guys that says, "Bring on the wind."
Probably doesn't want the wet, but he probably does want the wind. Okay.
Interesting. I got to see if I can find some actual data to support all that. But,
yeah. Okay.
That was the first thing I Googled and said, golfers that play best in the rain. And this thing came up that says Tiger Woods is almost unbeatable.
So what is your final Tiger Woods prediction?
I think he makes the cut. But I think the thing is, depending on where he is with the cut, if they don't play on Saturday, and let's say he's like 10 shots back or something, I don't think he'll play Sunday.
Okay.
I think he'll withdraw. Because to walk 36 holes, is he going to be able to do that? I don't know if he will.
That's a lot in one day.
I know. That's where I'm thinking. If he realizes, okay, I made the cut, but I'm really not going to have a chance to make a run and get this. If he's like a couple shots back, yeah, he's going to try, right? He's going to try. But if he's like 10 shots back and they don't play it all Saturday, I can see him withdrawing.
Now, if he's dropping out just because he's like, nah, I'm done, that seems worse than I'm in a lot of pain. I'm really trying to gut through this, and you're asking this of me now? The latter, I understand. If it's the former, I mean, look, Tiger Woods doesn't really have much of anything to lose at this point.
No, and I don't think
is his legacy.
Honestly, I don't think anybody will really kind of diss him for doing that either. They get it. They understand it.
Yeah.
Now, patrons might be a little bit upset because they get to miss out on Tiger, but the field, no, they won't care.
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking more of the public. But, yeah, other golfers.
I mean, TV networks, yeah, they would love Tiger Woods on a Sunday for 36 holes. Let's not kid ourselves.
Of course they would.
He could be 5 over or something like that, and they'd still put a main camera on him.
Yeah.
That's why he's one of the featured groups.
Yeah, the only problem is that he would be done a little too early. You want to still have Tiger Woods highlights at 4 o'clock.
Well, at 36 holes, you never know.
That's true. Depends on how much they try to squeeze in here.
Yeah.
Oh, this will be fascinating.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, because I think they'll try to get it all done Sunday. They might have to leak into Monday a little bit, but I think they'll try to.
I mean, the weather gets really nice the next few days. It's going to be nice around here. By the way, what was my prediction? April 14th?
I don't know. I didn't keep track of that for you.
It's going to be, we're going to be in the year low to mid 70s early next week around here.
Gotcha.
You might be golfing next week.
I doubt it. I'm just saying, I'm not saying the golf course won't be open. I'm saying my ability to go.
Well, okay, that's a whole nother.
That's different. So, all right, let's take a break, and we got a little sports vigilante. We might get into a hot topic here. Baseball blackouts.
Wow.
How about that?
Okay, I don't think that's fixable. Let's set that up that way and then try to fix it.
Yep. So that's kind of been a topic a lot lately. I don't know if you've seen that kind of come across here, but yeah, there's blackouts strike again. Did you see the picture? Kind of referring to this with the White Sox.
I did not.
So they restricted the broadcast inside the stadium.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, now I'm seeing that. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
That's so stupid.
Right. So if we could wave a magic wand, what would we do to change it? That's coming up next on our next edition of Sports Vigilante. How do we fix Major League Baseball blackouts? For anybody who may not know what the heck is a blackout, well, pretty simple. You can't watch your team on the telly, right? It kind of goes a bunch of different ways. So, for example, let's say you're a Brewers fan, Lucas. Yeah, you're a Brewers fan.
Mm-hmm.
You got like 3 options for you to watch it. You can go to the game in person, have a TV, I guess, streaming service subscription that includes Bally Sports right now.
Mm-hmm.
You could buy the MLB.TV season pass, but you can only watch those games that the Reds play away from home, or excuse me, Brewers. Why did I say Reds? Brewers play on the road there. So, I mean, yeah, it's getting a little tough. And I know Brandon, our good friend Brandon Berg, is very against the blackout rules out there. Now, little history lesson. This was a first, you know this a little bit more than me, but this was first adopted by Congress, right? This was a thing back, was it 60s, 70s, somewhere on there?
To prevent, I mean, a lot of this really has to do with making sure that
people went to the games.
Right, exactly. And like, those of us old enough to remember it and I have to remind myself of this. When I started watching baseball in like the first times I remember actively like, okay, who's on TV? This would have been the 1985 baseball season, and I lived in Grafton. So exurban Milwaukee, suburban Milwaukee. I never remembered seeing Brewer home games. And I remember thinking I'm 25 miles from County Stadium. But I remember thinking as a kid, wow, I never see the Brewers at home. Like that was like I had to rely on highlights on the news or pictures sometime later on, or maybe in the yearbook next year, because the home games were always blacked out. All the Brewer games I saw on probably WVTV down in Milwaukee, and he remembers the Catch the Brewer action on TV 18 jingle. Well, that's road action. Home games were never, ever on. Side note, I think part of the reason why we've had all this like powder blue mania for the Brewers, but also for some other teams, is because you grew up watching your favorite baseball team in the 70s and 80s, and it was on, not on the cable channel. In most cases, it was on broadcast TV. You only saw the road games. Mm-hmm. That was your total experience watching unless you went to a game, your experience was watching your team on the road. Well, what were they wearing back then? All those day glow, powder blue, tequila sunrise, all that sort of stuff. And I'll bet that is a significant reason why that is so popular now that those folks are 30-somethings, 40-somethings, 50-somethings, and have all the money, and they're buying all the merch, and that's what they love to see. So we never saw home games until cable really started to become a thing, 90s into the 2000s. Then you started to get everything, but you had to pay to get that. It wasn't free on TV. QOW up here, ironically also TV 18, they had the games. I mean, I remember watching Brewer games on QOW. I'm sure a lot of us remember seeing that going way back. But it was all, even up here, it was the road games, never the home games.
Mm-hmm.
Never. So yeah, this was initially to protect the gate receipts at County Stadium or the Metrodome or wherever you're talking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now that you probably saw it there too, what's really kind of spiked this up is that the White Sox. Somebody posted up a picture like inside the stadium. Couldn't play the game. Couldn't air the game on there.
Because they didn't. What now? Is this because they didn't have access to whichever networks they were trying to do the satellite version? That's the problem. If you're trying to watch on satellite and you don't have, you don't have a subscription to that cable network.
Doesn't look good though when you got a Major League Baseball team that has that flashing on their on their TV screen.
Issue. Exactly. Yeah, that's a problem. I mean, it's a bit of a fluke, but it's also a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So how does this get fixed? And this is not an easy one. It sounds like, well, okay, then just stop the blackout rules. But then that could potentially gut the money that goes to these RSNs, and already that's a massive, 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 massive problem. Where we're at the point of like, are we even going to be able to watch our favorite teams play any games? Like the thought crossed my mind the other day, should we go back to having local, our state's baseball team on broadcast TV? Like going back to WQOW having Brewer road games like we had back in the 80s? Like, would that maybe solve the problem?
I don't know. I was reading a little bit here too. Remember, this is a football one, but Miami Dolphins would only allow for a blackout to be lifted if 85% of the tickets were sold at the home game. Back then, your only way of watching the Dolphins would be to go in person, root that it was a sellout crowd, or drive out of states to watch it where there were no blackouts.
Which is not the easiest thing to do when
Oof.
you are on the far southern tip of the Florida Peninsula.
Well, it's a good thing if Green Bay ever did that. We know they're sold out. So.
It's true. That's true. The Packers have never been a problem.
Yeah.
But that was the other thing. You had to have a game sell out.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I remember that happening. I think that happened a fair amount in like the postseason, that games would be blacked out. And this, I think, extended to football. Correct me if I'm wrong. Again, some people that are of my age, 40-somethings, maybe even some 30-somethings and older, probably remember hearing stories of like, this big playoff game will not be televised.
Yeah.
in
Yes.
its home market because it was not a sellout.
Yes. I thought there was wasn't there like a Packers 49ers one not that long ago?
Something like that. Was that wasn't at Lambeau.
No, I don't think.
That was in that had to have been in San Francisco.
I'm going to have to Google that now.
I mean, I know there was that old concern about who was all going to show up at that game several years ago because of the weather.
Yes. Yeah, maybe that's what I was thinking of there.
But this used to be a semi-regular occurrence, and now it's to the point like there's enough money to go around, and there are enough.
It was. There's 2014, Packers announced that they were able to reach sellout status and avoid a blackout for Sunday's playoff game against the 49ers.
That is what I was fearing it was. Yeah,
Yep.
Now I do remember that. Okay, so what do we do?
I can't believe that. That's right. I remember that team had 40,000 tickets available that Monday morning. But that was also the year, too, that they got just in. That was the Rodgers DeKalb against Chicago and Joe Buck freaking out.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
But it was, but you knew they weren't going to go all the way that season. Well,
they almost beat the 49ers at that playoff game, too.
Ironically.
Thank you, Micah Hyde, for not tipping that, but whatever.
Side note, are you going to get a chance to finally break bread with Devon House?
I was wondering if anybody would remember that.
Because I saw the picture the other day from Seabaum, and my first thought was, wait a minute. They're going to be in the same room. They're going to – wait, Dan's the MC, and they are going to cross paths.
Yeah, do I make it awkward for him?
At a charitable event.
Never mind. He unblocked me.
Oh.
I just looked it up on Twitter.
Oh, really?
I don't know how that happened, but all right.
I'm guessing you probably I'm guessing C-Bomb helped out with that.
I don't know, but
you probably put in a good word.
You know what? I'm not satisfying that with a follow. Wait, never mind. That was a sports talk account. That wasn't my account. Hold on. Mm-hmm. Let's just see.
The Devon House beef.
Yeah, he still got me blocked.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Okay. But honestly, he probably forgot that he blocked you.
I don't know why I got blocked. That's the thing.
All right. Well,
I have never tweeted at him.
Okay. C-Bomb, is he listening right now?
Who the heck knows?
Okay. Well, C-Bomb, if you are listening, you may have to play mediator. This is going to be like Reykjavik here.
Oh, I'm going to throw Devon House some really hard questions next Tuesday.
Oh, okay. Then just start leading more into it, and he's like, wait, what? And then he finally realizes what he did.
I'll be like, so was it worth it signing with the Jacksonville Jaguars when you left Green Bay for the first time? How was that, Devon?
Oh, my gosh. This is really going to happen.
How was it like getting burned by – never mind. I won't go.
You just start giving him, like, the stare.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, what's going on here? Okay, so...
Or I could be like, hey, I'll tweet a picture out. I'll tag everybody. Oh, wait. No, can't tag everybody. Sorry, Devon. That's right.
Oh, well, you could bring that right up on stage. That's the casual way. Like, hey, I'm going to tag... Wait a minute. You blocked me.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then he's got to answer in front of all those fans and like, unblock Dan! Unblock Dan! Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This could be fun. Folks, if you have not yet gotten your tickets to the Packer Tailgate Tour, let me tell you, not only are you helping out a good cause, you might see some major league drama between Devon House and Dan Kasper.
Yeah.
6 days from now at the Lismore. Be there.
You should be a promo guy for that. So.
I'm telling you, I'm totally your hype man.
Death match now.
Claymation, Kasper, and Devon House.
Yeah, I was waiting if anybody remembered that, and Luca is the first one to remember that. So, all right.
boy, this could get really wild.
This has been since, I think, 2014.
So somehow Sports Vigilante may have solved the Devon House problem, but that was not our original intention.
No.
It still means you can't watch the Brewer game if they don't have Bally Sports Wisconsin at the Lismore.
Yeah, I don't think it's one of those where they go back. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to go backwards. Like baseball's not all of a sudden going to solve the problem of big team, bigger market teams buying roster. They're not going to put a salary cap. They're not going backward.
No.
They're not doing that. I don't know how really you go back, but maybe it is kind of what you said, the local, broadcast TV sort of thing.
That would be the easy thing to do. But then you got those weird things like Iowa where you're blocked out of a ton of teams and, well, you can't get a broadcast signal anyway. So like that's a moot point. I'm thinking this is more of you got to redo the whole concept, which I do think Major League Baseball is working on this because of the Diamond Sports Group bankruptcy, to make sure that games are available. And maybe as part of this, they do bring the overall management in-house. And as part of that, if you can, I know you got teams that are also involved in the rights deals, but at some point, Major League Baseball might be like, look, we just stop this. We're not going to have anyone go poverty here. Unless it's Diamond Sports, but they're already screwed. So I think the way to stop the blackout thing is to reimagine the way games are being broadcast, which is already in the process of doing that. But if I were Sports Vigilanteing this, I would probably almost daily stop by Rob Manfred's office and say, so how's the blackout part of this coming along? Just to make sure that it's on his radar.
Let me throw something out there and see if this is feasible. We're in the streaming era, cord cutters, right? Everybody's got, anybody who has like a Roku TV, you probably got a bunch of like apps or whatever downloaded on there, right? Hulu, or even the free ones like Pluto or something like that. Is it possible in the next 5-10 years, whatever it would be? And some teams already have their own. Do you call it an app on Roku or streaming channel or whatever it's called?
I think so, because I'm thinking like Amazon Prime, when you have like Tubi and Freevee and stuff like that. I think so.
Could we see a scenario where now all of a sudden you can, for a monthly fee, subscribe to that team's quote unquote streaming channel, and you can watch the games that way too?
I think so. Like the streaming is moving in a good direction. And like as the Sporting News pointed out, I'm going to read directly from their story from not that long ago. Saying since 2019, teams have the opportunity to negotiate their streaming rights now because of an owner's vote, with a catch. Those streaming rights that teams are negotiating for are wholly unrelated to TV blackouts. So streaming in the future is going to make it easier for fans to watch their teams via certain services, but it ultimately won't change the blackout situation. I think this is really more if you've got like a satellite, which a lot of people do, that sort of service. So, yeah, if you want to do the over-the-top Bally Sports Plus thing, you're good. And if you don't have cable, if you do have cable, like in my case, I would have to either upgrade my cable package because I do not have Bally Sports.
What if there was a scenario where, like, so since you brought up Amazon, like you can rent movies on Amazon for a one-time fee, right? You like $4 or something like that, whatever. What if there was something that you could purchase single games to watch? $2-3 a pop.
Where was this discussed? Where this could be? Was this with regard to football? Where I think there was the notion of like an a la carte, you could buy anything, but then the networks would. Or was this? I'm trying to think. I thought I heard that brought up with regard to the NFL, and that if you were out of market, that you could start buying your own. Yeah, because I remember thinking of that. Like, because I remember talking with my wife about that. Like, so what if we live somewhere where there are like no Viking games, and I want to watch the Vikings? So would it be fine to have this scenario? This has been discussed. This is why this is all coming back to me now. And this wasn't that long ago, like a year or two, that all games are available for X amount of money. And like, could I spend like $9 to watch a Vikings Panthers game week 5 or something like that? And we started talking about like, so how much is too much to watch that when you otherwise couldn't? She's like, yeah, how much? Like, she's like, you're going to start to spend a decent amount of money. Like, yeah, like at what point do you start to go, I'm good with the highlights, I don't need to spend that much. But if that's for the NFL, But what would be the rate for one of 162 games?
Well, that's
What's
what I
the
was wondering.
value
Is it
of
like
that?
$2-3 a pop?
Maybe, but so okay. This is a tough thing to ask if you're a Packer fan living in Wisconsin when you can watch all the games.
Well, I mean,
But-
you bring up the Packer thing, but I was in that situation a few years ago. We were cord cutters. We got a streaming thing. But that streaming one, I remember it was like when the once in a while they would play on CBS. I'd have to sign up for another service for a week just to watch the game.
Well, I almost want to focus group this one with everyone. What value would you put on a generic Packers regular season game?
Where you could just pick and choose?
Yeah, and
Okay.
again, without regard, we're not going to do like dynamic pricing. So the Cowboys game on a Sunday night is going to be way more expensive than playing the Texans at noon.
So if it's on a Sunday night, are we talking like every game, or are we talking like the normal Fox games or
a
something
consistent rate? So any Packer regular
honestly,
season
the
game.
first number that came to mind was $9 or $10.
Given that football games are bigger deals than like any given football game is a bigger deal than any given baseball game because of the scarcity project, 17 versus 162. I would think a baseball game would be like $1.
Yeah.
I can't do like $2 to $3 for a baseball game and then do $9 for a football game. That's gonna
baseball for me. I'll tell you right now, I'm probably not going to watch every 162 games.
Definitely not.
You know, like that one I could like pick and choose because you know what? Hey, I might not buy Monday night's game because I'm coaching T-ball or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that makes it okay. Tuesday, yeah, I'll pay a couple bucks because I know I can watch that one.
And
you can plan it around like your summer because you know we do more trips in summer too.
If you paid $9 a Packer game, that's 153 per regular season.
And I the thing is, there's only 17 of those. You already know me. I schedule my life around a Packer game to watch it. You know, like punting and all that. So that to me is like, yeah, I'd almost be like whatever. I'm part of that group that I've got nobody to blame for certain stuff because I'm one of those that eat it up every time.
NFL Sunday Ticket, which would be the other equivalent of that right now with DirecTV, is $294. If you were just a Packer fan, that would actually be a better deal. Which also tells me, well, I mean, I know with Sunday Ticket you can watch everything versus just like a pure Packer schedule, but $324 would be the cost for like if you charge $2 per Brewer game, Twin game, whatever game, that's $324 a season. If you spent $2 on every single game. Now, that's not how a package would work because if let's say you wanted to buy a Brewer pack. Yeah, this is what I was thinking of. Like, could you eventually get like a situation where you get like your team's package and you get all the games? Well, you wouldn't.
Or maybe you get a package of 50 or 75 or something.
Right. That would be reduced rate. So
it's kind of like how you do the ticket package is how teams do.
Yeah. Because
buy a 4-pack, buy a 20-pack.
And divide it by the actual number of tickets. And that's actually per ticket less, but that's because you're buying the whole thing versus game by game by game, ticket by ticket by ticket. It's an interesting concept, and the diehards would probably go for that if they didn't have another option.
I would tell you, I would be really interested in it because, you know, I'm thinking of like stuff like, hey, you know what? Next week, I'm going to invite some friends over. We're going to grab some cold ones. You know what? I'll buy a game on the TV. You know, throw a few bucks. We'll put the game on the TV.
Well, Bally Sport,
or we'll do like, let's do an all-day thing. We're going to buy a Brewers game, and then we're going to buy a Twins game, and then we'll buy a Cubs game.
It's not a bad idea. I mean, and for that amount of money, every so often. Now, Bally Sports Plus is $190 a year or $20 a month.
Like I'm already imagining like man caves with multiple TVs, and you can have different games on each TV. Like to me, that if that were a thing, that would intrigue me. Just me being a freak of sports and stuff like that, I would be intrigued with that.
But here's
if I could customize the games that I want to watch.
And that's probably
like literally at a dime. Like I go on my phone, click it, buy it, done.
Well, that probably applies to everything and getting into like basketball. Like, do you want to pay for every single game knowing that, well, load management strikes again,
right?
And here's a ringer of a game you don't really want to watch. A la carte or full, it's actually not a bad idea. Now, then this gets into how much do the teams make based on their fan bases? I don't know how well it would fly. This is where I think this needs to come from on top. And then again, the existential crisis
Or do you do the shared revenue?
Well, and that would help more. And this is where I think, can't believe I'm saying this, Rob Manfred needs to be the vigilante on this. He needs to come up with some overarching method that allows everyone to be able to access their team's game and do whatever it takes. And yeah, like he said, he's got to undo a whole lot of arrangements. Well, then they need to be undone. It's as simple as that. And it's going to have to come from on top. I actually am pretty impressed that he was able to pull off as many changes as he did to the game. We've talked about so much, and man, are they making a difference so far. He did it. Credit to Rob Manfred for doing that. Okay, this might be the next thing. Yes, there is that existential crisis of younger fans, not lacking. This is a sports-wide thing where they may not want to sign up for Bally Sports Plus or pay a la carte because, again, they can get all the highlights on their Instagram feed, so they're not going to bother with that. I think that's a bigger problem than blackouts when you got people that don't even want to bother watching a full game because that's too long, even a 2.5 hour. Why do that? I can watch a minute's worth of highlights and I'm good.
Yeah.
Back to TikTok. But outside of that, I think you need to centralize this for each league and ruffle a lot of feathers in the process. But that's how you get over blackout. Because if you keep doing RSN stuff, they're going to keep, and teams are going to keep being territorial, and you're going to keep having this problem.
All right, we got to take a really quick break here. So coming up next hour, we're going to do some stock reports, whose stock is rising, whose stock is falling. Then we'll get to Showdown here. It's been a while since we've actually talked to Packers topic, but I'm going to throw this out there and I want to see what the reaction would be like from people listening right now. Packers are hosting a potential first-round quarterback for a top 30 visit. Top 30 visit, you're only allowed 30 players, for a visit. Hendon Hooker, the Tennessee quarterback. Packers will be hosting him. Your reaction, Packers fans, if the Packers used a pick either in the, I don't think it'll be a first rounder, but second round. If they pull another Brian Braum, what would your reaction be like on Friday of that draft day?
And can your reaction top the Jordan Love reaction? I got to have to bring back that GIF from 2020.
There's a lot of them from me.
That was a classic.
Yeah. Holding the Zima. Let me know. Hit me up with a text, tweet, Facebook, all that good stuff. Only got about 30 seconds here. So coming up next hour, we will kick it off with stock reports, whose stock is rising, whose stock is falling. Give us your Masters picks with the first round teeing off tomorrow. Then we'll get back to, other than we got Showdown, we got 91 versus 73 in the second round. We'll get back to some more Brewers talk. Brewers going for the sweep. Corbin Burns on the mound. Bucks win tonight. They've got the 1 seed. And then I just threw out that question to you all. If the Packers used a second-round pick on a quarterback, your reaction would be fill in the blank. So we got lots to hit up on in the final hour. Quick break, couple news updates. Then we'll kick it off with some stock reports. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Final hour on this Wednesday morning of April 5th. Big thanks for everybody tuning in and however you may be tuning in, checking us out from. One person said that, quote, they'll be drunk if the Packers draft a quarterback in the second round. So there you go. Like a lot of people probably will be. I really wish Twitter was around in 2008 when Packers drafted Brian Brom in the second round.
Are we sure we really? Well, Twitter was around in 2008. It was just it was nascent.
Glad it wasn't when I was in college. Like, I didn't know about it. I'm glad it wasn't what it is right now when I was in college. I'll just say that.
Because I remember signing up in 2009.
Yeah, I think I did.
And it was kind of a thing at that point.
But no, mine was all MySpace and Facebook. So it's not to what it is now, though. Yeah.
No. But now it's just we get the Doge thing going on.
I think the best thing that happened to Aaron Rodgers is that Brian Brom flamed out right away. Just saying.
Gosh, I forgot about that.
Yeah. How many people remember Brian Brom?
I remember more from his
Merrill Hodge and, saying Brian Brom was going to be better than Aaron Rodgers. Remember that clip?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That's the thing. Like, Green Bay they got Danny Etling as their backup. A lot of people have been wondering, are they going to get a veteran quarterback in there? And I'm like, well, remember they didn't do that in 2008 when Rodgers got the team. Matt Flynn was the 7th round pick that year. And he ended up being the backup. Worked out okay.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't necessarily say they're going to go out and sign a veteran.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do.
But if they draft
Brian Brom, Hendon Hooker, really.
He tore his ACL in November, so that's the other thing too. Like, will he actually be ready to be a backup?
That's drafting Jordan Love's successor.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jordan Love will, look poo-poo this year. Yet Malik Hooker will be like Jordan Love and not be active for any single game, so you don't know if he actually will
Should we start rumors about Jordan Love turning down an option and wanting to be a free agent and get out of Green Bay? And so this is why they're doing this?
He can't turn down the option.
Well, I know, but he wants to leave. I actually don't think that's.
I was going to say that's a bold statement.
Bold prediction. Jordan Love wants out, but how long until someone makes that supposition of? Oh, they know Jordan Love is something, and so they're drafting his replacement.
Mm-hmm. I just saw this from Pro Football Talk. Craig Carton on FS1 floated this possibility. 49ers and Aaron Rodgers. What if the 49ers offered a pair of third-round picks this year and a first-rounder in 2024?
And what's the most likely Jets one at this point?
Probably a second-round pick and maybe a conditional pick in 2024.
I mean, that's a better one. But that seems more of a desperation move, and I don't think that the Niners need to do that.
Yeah. I look at last year. I mean, do you really need to go out and get Aaron Rodgers when you were in the NFC Championship game and your starting quarterback got hurt right away?
Yeah, I'd look askance at John Lynch. He's made a lot of good moves. I'd be like, what are you doing?
Oh.
No, that doesn't seem that doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
It's an interesting concept. And of course I know, then Florio goes all in on the concept of that, but then again, side note on Mike Florio, what do you think of his theory that we are soon that the NFL's goal is to have primetime football every night of the week? Primetime football from September through January.
I get why he's saying that. I think a lot of people think that's what the NFL is going to do, but I don't think that'll actually happen.
Scarcity of football is part of it. Like that, not every single night can be the biggest game ever.
Right.
It's kind of like the Supreme Court thing. Like, but not everyone is the biggest thing ever. Like some are lesser than.
They do some on Saturdays later in the season. I don't know if they could get the only other day that I could think of would be like, would they do it on a Friday night?
And then you get into the high school thing.
Right.
Which, I mean, I think they could.
But college did that, and it did ruffle feathers with the Big Ten when they started doing some Friday night games.
And it still doesn't feel like the biggest thing. Like, since they've changed it, it doesn't feel like college football owns Friday night now.
No.
And these are big teams. So I don't think just because the NFL seems to own the NFL, I don't think they tried to own the combine time, and now the combine's fading. So
I don't want to have to secure my Friday night by sitting in front of a television and watching football. I do that Sundays and Mondays.
Well, and then every
sometimes
night,
Thursdays.
Gosh, imagine trying to be an NFL, like to know everything about the NFL, and you have to watch. I mean, I know NBA. If you're a diehard, sure, but
okay. I'm not gonna cut you off there because I think I know where you're going. Can you imagine having to sit and watch a game every single night and know everything about them? Sign me up for that. I'll do that job.
True, actually,
I will do that job.
Good point.
I will 100% do that.
You get paid to do that?
Yep.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. But
I'll take one for the team.
But casual sports dude is going to be like, whoa. That's while you're trying to also watch the NBA, watch baseball.
Do you think the NFL cares? No.
Well, of course they don't. But oh my gosh, and honestly, I think the biggest issue with this, because I mean, I think that would probably take down some of the. I still don't think that's going to happen. That's still I know his theory is that because the whole short week thing okay, that's a Florio theory. I don't know that he's actually got someone in the NFL offices saying, "Yep, that's our end game," because Florio projects a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I when I was looking at the comments on a lot of that, and there are a few people like, yeah, cool. Most of the assorted comments you would see in various sites and whatnot were very anti. But the biggest complaint was not, gosh, there's too much football to watch. Because, I mean, if there's a lot out there, if it's a good game, you watch it. And if it's not a good game, then you don't watch it. It's like with any other sport. The problem is fantasy sports, which is part of the jet fuel that has increased the popularity of the NFL in the last 20 years. It was already very popular, but what's turned this into this gargantuan force is in a lot of ways fantasy football. That can bleep up a lot of fantasy things when you're like, okay, but my team's playing on Tuesday now, and I didn't have it. I missed my... That becomes a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I think it legit does. And a lot of people were saying this is not going to be good for fantasy. There's probably a lot of people that play fantasy. I don't know if Goodell cares about it that much. On the other hand, that's driving a lot of the popularity of the sport. And I don't know you want to necessarily mess with that. There's a middle ground there. You don't have to own every single night.
No.
We're getting into Mark Cuban, the pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered territory with that.
Yeah, I don't see it happening, but I know where he's coming off on that. I think a lot of people are just thinking that's what the NFL's goal is, but.
Also, pay Dan to watch football every night from September to January.
Yeah, I'd do that. I'd be okay with that.
I mean, if I get literally paid to watch a game, I will watch a game.
Mm-hmm.
Pay me to do it, and
if you pay me to watch arena football, I will watch it. I hate arena football.
Really, even that?
I told you this.
I know you hate arena football, but you'd watch it if you got paid.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm easy.
Is there any sport you would not watch, even if you got paid? And I don't mean just like $5, but if you got paid like a good salary, like you could make a living.
What would be the sport that I could not sit and watch?
And you're making like, let's just say like $70K a year.
Oh, $70K? Then there's no sport I would not watch.
Okay.
No, there's no sport. I mean, now I see there's like pillow fighting leagues starting. I mean, really, are we doing this? Are we like trying to come up with something and just monetize it all and like put it up there? Because yeah, people will watch it right away. But then, I'm watching these pickleball clips on TikTok and that, and I'm like, I could do that. I could go play pickleball. See, John McEnroe was playing, and he was getting frustrated with the umps and that. I don't know if it was a gimmick or anything, but yeah, he got called for a foot foul, and
did he yell, "You cannot be serious"?
No, but he got a little animated. So I don't know if it was more at himself, but yeah, no, I don't think. I mean, now if you lower the dollar amounts, I'm pretty sure I could come up with some stuff that I would not sit and watch.
Okay,
like if you're saying, hey, $100 to watch badminton, probably not.
I'll give you $1 to watch the arena football. And
okay,
you're not no.
No.
I might.
I can't arena football. That one time I was sitting there at a Hooters watching it. I'm like, what am I watching? First of all, why am I watching arena football when I'm at a Hooters? But still, it was like 10 o'clock after a Brewer game. Right. So it was bad. It was awful football. It was really bad.
The other thing, though, with a lot of this, though, is because people pay so much attention to each, like, the challenge to know about every single one. And the thing we also forget, not to belabor this too long, but this still doesn't mean the Packers are playing 600 games a year now. They still have 17 games. Well, probably 18 in the future. But still, that your team, whenever you were listening, it's the same amount. It's just a matter of one night a week. So this actually is going to segue nice into stock reports. So I'll hold my next point on that.
Okay, well, we'll just go into it then.
All right. My stock follower is the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, did you hear that report, Michael Bidwell and such? Oh,
Yep.
yeah. Owners are really getting called out on the carpet for a lot of this stuff now.
Wow, maybe
good.
Some of them might actually get in trouble for stuff. What a concept.
Yeah.
Between that, last year being a disaster season, and I was thinking the other day, in fact, I think that when I was hearing the Florio comments, and I thought, okay, who are our go-to teams when we talk about like the NFL matchup that is like the worst to watch? And
Jaguars Titans.
Yeah, right. It's those.
I keep going back to the Eddie George promo. It ain't gonna be Brady and Manning forever.
Nope, definitely not in this one.
No.
I would throw the Texans in as a pretty solid one.
Yeah.
I still have a theory.
AFC South.
At writ large, I still have a theory that the Houston Texans could fold, and I don't know that many people really would care.
Fold as in like move?
Just vanish. Just be, like outside of it being 31 teams and being an odd number, like how much would we really care if the Texans just cease to exist? That really okay, cool. Like how much did they really matter to the NFL? They had success. They play Saturday afternoon January playoff football games.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. The Jaguars have been like one of the other teams that are like the go-tos. I think they're about to graduate out of that. Not to the point of being like hardcore Super Bowl contender, but I think they may be in for a few years of being like a semi-regular playoff team, maybe going a bit of a run like they did last year. Well, not every team can be that. And the Cardinals sure seem to be a good candidate to fall into that zone of, it's Cardinals, Titans, well, not maybe the Titans not right now, but like Cardinals, Texans. Are you going out Cardinals, Texans next year? I mean, we don't know exactly who's playing, but at first blush, I'm like, I got to.
Which says something because Kyler Murray was supposed to be, this dude too.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you told me that maybe 2 years ago, I'd be like, wow. So the whole Kyler Murray thing really was worst case scenario. It's getting close to that. Just as a franchise, I like the biggest thing to look forward to with the Cardinals right now is that they got new uniforms coming out in a couple weeks.
Yay!
Which they're I know. Actually, they got some of the worst in the league, so I think almost anything would be an improvement. But if that's the thing, their stock is definitely falling, and they're perilously close to being the usual Cardinals we've seen for most of the past few decades of being the definitive also-ran. The Lions are also kind of graduating out of territory. Though if the Lions folded, there's so much history, that would matter.
Yeah.
But the Cardinals are definitely... There's not a lot of good vibes around that team right now. They're a stock faller for me.
My stock faller, I'm going to go with the constant attention from people on this whole Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark thing with the whole,
the discourse.
Yeah. We're getting away from the most important thing here. That women's college basketball this year was a lot of fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Caitlin Clark was a big reason why it was a lot of fun to watch. And there's trash talking in sports altogether. There's that. We see it, whether you like it or not. It happens in every single game, for crying out loud. It happens. People, how many times have we joked about Larry Bird being one of the best trash talkers of all time, for crying out loud?
You were talking about this a week ago before all of this hand gestures happened.
I get, some people say, well, she, Reese would tracked her down and kept doing it and all that. Okay, whatever. The thing is, Caitlin Clark even came out and said, no, that she shouldn't be criticized at all. Reese, she's like, that's part of the game. Whether you like it or not, it is part of the game. It's taken away from what I thought was a fantastic tournament and a fantastic season for women's college basketball. We should be talking about that. We should be talking about where this game is at and where it's trending, the arrow trending upward. We're going to see Caitlin Clark again next year. Mm-hmm. And I can't wait to watch her next year and see her etch her name more into those record books in the Big Ten, in college basketball. She's a lot of fun to watch. And I think if you're college hoops right now, you got to be pretty happy with where your game's going, because I do think it got a little fatigued there when UConn, it was all UConn.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just like, why watch when we know it's going to be UConn?
See Andrew Brandt's tweet yesterday, after Caitlin Clark made those comments on ESPN. And Andrew, I'm paraphrasing a little bit here, sports radio / TV producers. Darn, no story there.
Yeah. I did see that, but
there were some that still tried to push, like, not producers, but some pundits still tried to make a thing out of, and it's, well, really more commenters on were like, yeah, see, Caitlin Clark came out and she took the high road. Like, okay, so basically, we know where you're going.
The only criticism I would have is that, Caitlin, don't steal John Cena's move. Come up with your own now.
Yeah. And she's got another season to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's getting over for all the stuff that, and not to get into real world stuff, but for all the stuff that's actually being said in the real world, and you go to like news websites and all that sort of stuff, people are losing their minds over this.
Well, see, now that segues perfectly to my stock riser, unless you have another point on
go
that.
for it.
Women's college basketball is definitely my stock riser.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. I mean, you can scoreboard it and point to the ratings and how much they were up to what, 9 point some million, 9.9, whatever it was. It's double last year, which was a big increase last year from before. I don't know if I even watched last year's. Like, I knew that I forgot until this past Sunday, but I was reminded that they moved it to Sunday afternoon, and now it's on ABC. Big ratings increase. Getting close to the men. I know the men was down because of the caliber of teams involved.
Yeah, for as much, I was kind of wondering about that too. It's like, everybody's like, yeah, no blue bloods, but I'm like, yeah, but the ratings might go down too.
They did. It was up 14.6, which is not a huge drop, but it's the lowest ever. But again, I think that has to do with the teams involved. But the women's game was the topic for a couple days, and a lot of it was the Clark Reese thing. But a lot of people they cared about this. People cared about what was going on in a women's game, in a women's basketball championship. Caitlin Clark became a phenomenon. I watched that whole game on Sunday afternoon because women's college basketball got into FOMO territory the past few days. Like, I made a point to watch as much of the semifinal game.
If anybody doesn't know what FOMO is, fear of missing out.
Right. No. This was beyond, I'll see the highlights. No, we were talking about Caitlin Clark last Wednesday, and I was like, I keep seeing I have to watch her game in real time, not just the highlights. I got to see how she is as a player. I'm glad I did. And okay, she didn't have the greatest game on Sunday. Fine, because LSU did have a great game, and I got rewarded, and any of us watching were rewarded for watching that. Jasmine Carson comes out with the Ice Spice hair. If you don't know what Ice Spice is, Google her, and goes on a heat check. That bank in 3 at the half.
I think Caitlin Clark has the record now for all of our Motivational Mondays, our Studs and Duds, and Cream of the Crops, and now Stock Reports.
Yeah.
Her name has been attached to any one of those in the last few weeks.
Yes. And all of that. But see, that's the thing. And then it got us into all that other stuff. If I doubt the Lynx are going to be in position to draft either Angel Reese or Caitlin Clark next year, because they're probably going to be pretty good. They were okay. They were like
tank for Clark. That might be a good thing for the WNBA, huh?
I'm trying to think. Okay, we got to think. What's the term? Because it's got to be alliterative. Oh no, that works. Clang off the rim.
Yep.
Clang for Clark. The Lynx are not going to be in position to draft her. I would be shocked. They'd have to swing some major trades. But of course, I'd be over the moon if somehow they ended up with Caitlin Clark. I'd like Angel Reese on my team too. Sure. Yeah, she stood out in that game too. I know she got most outstanding player. I don't know if she was the best on the floor, but she was a presence out there. She's tall as heck.
That's great. Tall as heck.
Well, yeah.
Good scouting report.
Well, no, but compared to everyone, like, she stood, like, literally stood out figuratively and literally stood out in that. I would want her on the Lynx. I get the whole backstory of this. I understand if they saw what happened and they didn't know the backstory with Clark and what she did to Louisville. I get that. But no, I was good with all of that. And it was a well-played game. One of the knocks I know on women's basketball is, they can't really play that well. Well, one, a lot of us growing up here around the Eau Claire area, we've seen plenty of girls basketball. We've seen plenty of women's basketball. We get it. Number two, That was a well-played game.
Mhm.
I know the officials got in the way kind of, but it was a well-played game.
It did put a damper on it.
It did.
The thing is, I will say the tee on Caitlin Clark was ridiculous,
Oh, gosh.
especially with, she's a great coach, but when you got, is it Malarkey on the sideline for LSU?
Kim Mulkey, yeah.
Mulkey, she gets really animated. She
6 feet
grabbed an
off.
official during that game,
Yes.
and I think everybody's just so like toning her out because they know how like excited she gets on the sideline.
Kim Mulkey doing Kim
Yeah.
Mulkey things. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, then letter of the law, then she should have been teed up as well at some point. Well, as Ryan Rocco said in the wake of that, he said, Clark shouldn't have done that. That is a foul. That should be called. Also, the refs should let the players play. Like, he knocked both of them, and that's both right. Like, you need to have the focus at that point to don't put yourself in a position to get teed up. And also, refs, don't be so literal about that. Like, I'm thinking, are they going to really foul out Caitlin Clark in the third quarter?
Yeah.
On a ticky-tack thing? That's the rate this is going, and that's going to suck.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, women, I mean, there's going to be more coming up, too. More and more and more.
I got 2 stock risers, and I'll make them really quick because we got to take a break. But one of them I was going to say UConn men's basketball, because if you didn't have them as a blue blood program, they're a blue blood program. I don't care. I don't care that they started winning it not until 1999. If you're still going to consider Indiana and UCLA blue blood programs, UConn is now a blue blood program. 5 national championships in the last 23, 24 years. Come on.
Yeah, did you enjoy the blue blood discourse for the past couple of days?
Yes. And I will say the youngsters for the Milwaukee Brewers right now. Gosh, a lot of fun to watch right now.
Wow.
Bryce Terang the other day. You had Garrett Mitchell hitting a couple dingers. The youngsters and newbies. Brian Anderson, he's already got a couple dingers on there too. So a lot of fun. I know it's 5 games in, so I'm not trying to like freak out with 5 games. But come on now.
I mean,
How the narrative changes in a day. Brewers didn't score a run for the first 17 innings, and now they can't stop scoring runs.
Cheese heads for everybody.
Yep. I love the fact that it's a cheese head too. Just to piss off non-Packers fans who are Brewers fans.
It's appropriate. Remember last night at choir practice, we keep seeing like all the notifications. Those of us that are sports fans keep seeing the notifications coming up, and I looked over at one of them, and I'm like, is Freelick up yet? Like, I'm thinking, how many rookies are going to be doing this? Because this was after Mitchell's second home run.
This is the thing, is like, when Tyrone Taylor comes back or Luis Urias comes back, I don't want Joey Weimer to get sent back down. And I know it's going to happen, and I don't want it to happen. I want to keep the youngsters up right now.
Yeah.
Keep Brian with this.
This is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
This is pretty cool what's happening right now.
Yep. All right, we got to take a quick break, and then we'll do a quick edition of Showdown. Fill in the blank, though, Packers fans. If the Packers drafted a quarterback in the second round, you will what? Keep it clean. Don't forget to get your Masters picks in too. Rory is leading the way for the majority of picks right now. For Rory McIlroy.
The sentimental pick
Mhm.
right now.
Yeah. I went JT. You went with Xander Schauffele. Both of them have the same odds for the
Yeah.
CBS Sports. So. Rest of you, let us know. Reminder, we'll be at Hy-Vee Friday morning doing the show, 6A to 9A, but then we'll do a little podcasting afterwards, that too. But putting contest going to 10. Stop by. Got 3 putts. You can win an Odyssey putter, brand new Callaway driver, some other prizes. Big thanks to Carpet City Flooring Center for building this custom putting green here. Real water and real sand is on the putting green. You do got a bunker to the left, a little water to the right. So that's all I'm telling you.
And as you informed me a few days ago,
Yeah, they'll have a Masters themed menu there too. So
so you're dining. You better believe I am getting all of that later this week. I am planning my lunches around that. You better. I am watching the Masters in full style this weekend.
I know Ultra's got some beer specials going on too. So I've got a green blazer I'll be wearing. I'll be wearing that. So I think is it only appropriate that in the tradition of the Masters too, because it's going to happen tomorrow, the honorary tee shots. I'm going to do the honorary putt.
Of course,
So
of course.
I'm going to try to live stream everybody's putts. I'm going to try to have a camera there and have it up. We'll see. A lot of hardware on the internet though, so we'll see if we can handle all of that. You know what I mean? So should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. But hey, I had a poll question the other day before we go down. When I say the name Jim Nance, what's the first sport you think of?
Well, now I'm thinking golf, but that's because I'm hearing him talking about azaleas right now.
Right.
I think it's the Masters ultimately because he's done so much NFL stuff with over a long time, but especially in the Romo era. So it's always Nance and Romo. So
yeah, I feel like Nance almost got more attention when he got paired with Romo. Like, do people remember he was with Phil Simms right before that?
Right, and there was more people knocking on Phil Simms, but it really wasn't a Nance thing. Now it's Nance and Romo. It's more of a team. Both when Romo was viewed as really good, and now that Romo's viewed as, generally speaking, is viewed as needing to do some work.
Mm-hmm.
But Nance is always in the discussion on that, and how is he playing off of Romo? I think because of the dynamism of Romo, so the other person in the booth is going to get more attention. I was glad to see Nance leave at the top of his game.
Yeah.
That doesn't always happen with a lot of announcers. You can think of someone, I already know Al Michaels' last game. We'll be able to compare him to much better. And not that Al Michaels is necessarily bad, but hopefully he doesn't hold on too long.
Mm-hmm.
But already he's a little bit off right now. I think it's not a shame to say that. Nance, I'm listening to the way he called that championship game. You're like, wow, he's got a lot more.
You don't notice a drop.
Not at all. Mm-hmm. And I think he's leaving in part because
that could have been a stock riser actually too. So
you could have, but he's spread too thin.
Mm-hmm.
And for him. And I think he also sees all the other announcers coming up, and CBS has a heck of a lineup right below him,
mm-hmm.
and they can't push through. And I think to a certain, and Nance has talked about this, and it's like, you know what? Folks like Ian Eagle are going to do really well.
Mm-hmm.
And Ian Eagle will do really well next year. I think he's probably going to be reteamed with Raftery from their Nets days. That's going to be fun next year.
Grant Hill will still be on there too, I'm assuming. Right? Yeah.
Long term, you think it's going to be Jay Wright as the color guy?
I thought
probably with Grant Hill, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Jay Wright replacing Bill Raftery at some point.
I heard some of that in Bill Raftery's age. I just got to remind myself of that. He is 79.
Yeah, he's getting up there.
Turns 80 this year, so he's not going to be. I mean, he's still got it too. I mean, for
as long as he's still dropping the onions.
Yeah, but no, he was analyzing the game really well
It was perfect for the San Diego game-winning shot. Like Jim Nance is great, and then you just hear slightly in the background Bill go, "Ah!"
He couldn't even get it out. It was just too much.
Just hear a sound from Bill. Like, "Ah!" It was like perfect. It was perfect. So,
by the way, we didn't get like a real classic legendary Nanceism at the end. Like I heard him say something right at the end, but there was so much happening, and I thought it was just like a generic thing. But I did like the way that he did finally sign. You could tell he was getting a bit choked up.
Thank you for being my friend.
Yep.
I instantly thought of Golden Girls.
Yeah. And remember, you again, for trivia's sake, though I did like how Grant Hill called him out on one of the trivia's, like, "Oh, you're just pulling this stuff out right now because you don't have any more games left."
Yeah.
Like, whatever that stat. Oh, it was about the UConn, the score being comparable. But again, I think I've told you this already. You may already know this, but what was the first time Jim Nantz used "Hello, Friends"?
Oh, you did tell me one time, and I can't remember.
There's a connection. I mean, we would be familiar with.
It was a UConn one, right?
No.
When was it?
2002 PGA Championship in Chaska.
Oh, okay.
And in fact, I think I was there that day. I wouldn't have seen it because I was walking around the course. But it was that Saturday of the PGA Championship, and that was right when his father was really ill, and that was the story of why he did that to do the "Hello, Friends." It was that gesture via the TV, and I believe that was the first time, if I remember hearing the interview, this is like a year ago, that he broke it out that Saturday of the PGA Championship in 2002 at Chaska.
Interesting.
I believe that's true. I could probably go find the podcast, but I remember going, "Wait a second." I'm thinking, because I was there that Saturday with one of my college friends. Like, oh my gosh, that was the beginning of "Hello, Friends," like this iconic line. That was it. And it had to do with his dad, because his dad was in ill health, was on his way down at that point.
Wow.
I know. So every time I hear "Hello, Friends" since then, the meaning of that would relating to his father. And then when he then turned that around at the end of the main broadcast, obviously pre-ceremony. Oh man, I was like, oh, this means so much to him. Like, oh boy.
Yeah, I got the Golf Week story up here really quick. Do you want to do? Or no, yeah, we got to do.
I might be
you're
wrong,
right. You're
but
right.
I think that's what it was.
I'm just skimming through here. It says Nance was as close as his father and son could be. So yeah, I'm just kind of skimming through here. So it sounds right.
Yeah.
Yep. It sounds right. So.
And it would have been that Saturday because that's
2002 PGA Championship. Yep.
And it would have been that Saturday because that's when CBS would have covered it over the weekend, because it was like TNT or whatever the days before. So, wow.
Yeah. Huh. All right, really quick, let's do some. I just closed out all my windows because you were doing that. So 1973 versus 1991 in sports. 1973, Dolphins win the Super Bowl. They get called the 72 Dolphins because of, well, the undefeated season in the regular season. But they won the Super Bowl in 73. Rose Bowl, USC over Ohio State. O.J. Simpson becomes the first player in NFL history to rush for more than 2,000 yards in a single season. Baseball, we had the Oakland A's over the New York Mets. UCLA over Memphis State. Bill Walton scored 44 points in that game. Knicks beat the Lakers in the NBA Finals.
That is their most recent championship.
Golf. Jack Nicklaus won the PGA and was the money leader. Ryder Cup US won on there. Hockey-wise, you had Stanley Cup. Montreal defeated the Blackhawks of Chicago 4-2. Madison beat Denver, UW-Madison. Badgers beat Denver for the college hockey championship, men's college hockey championship.
Secretariat.
Oh, that's a good
takes
one.
The Triple Crown.
That's a big one.
HBO Boxing's first telecast was in 1973.
Who was it? Does it say?
Foreman over Frazier.
Oh, okay.
January 73. Oh.
Interesting. 91. So we got a couple good Super Bowls in here, because 91, the Super Bowl was when the Giants beat Buffalo 20-19.
Yeah, and that I think that was really a better game. I mean, if you go back and watch the one where the Dolphins win. I mean, it's okay, but it's not like a wow. Whereas there was a wow element to Super Bowl 25. What is Belichick doing to the Bills?
Yeah.
Strategy worked really well.
Really did. We got, Desmond Howard won the Heisman Trophy that year. Already secured it says here, but yeah.
The pose.
Yep. Baseball-wise, it was your Twinnies over the Braves. Jack Morris, MVP.
I will argue the greatest World Series of all time. I may be wrong, but that's a very safe argument to make.
Basketball, Duke beat Kansas in the NCAA championship. The NBA was the Bulls over the Lakers.
A spectacular move.
This was also the year too that Magic Johnson announced he tested positive for the virus that causes AIDS. What else do we got on here? Payne Stewart won the U.S. Open. R.I.P. Payne Stewart.
Oh, and that's the one that was also at Chaska. The one with that was with the lightning bolt struck over there.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
June, yeah.
Penguins beat the Minnesota North Stars in the Stanley Cup.
That was that weird year where like Minnesota was like the center of the sports world between going to championships and then hosting championships, like the Super Bowl. Now that was 92, but like everything was happening right around that time.
Any?
And like that jumps out. I mean, 91, I think, had more between Scott Norwood, the 91 series, and I take out my fandom. That was a classic. That's like top 5 unequivocally. Like Secretariat's probably the thing that's holding up 73.
That's the only thing that it gives me pause from handing it to 91 as Secretariat and 73.
Right.
No offense. Dolphins, yeah, they won the Super Bowl. I think of them more with 72.
It's a 72 thing. And I don't think there was enough else. I would say 91 has more.
There's a little bit more depth, it seems like.
Holding it up. Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll go 91 too. Because I mean, that was Jordan's first championship too.
That's the thing. And again, if we're talking iconic moments, think of the moments. Norwood, the Puckett moments, but both in Game 6. And that move by Jordan, is that a top 5 Jordan play?
Oh gosh, yeah. But it almost feels like too. It's like, oh boy.
I know, but that's the one you always see.
See, I think when it comes to Jordan, you almost have to phrase it iconic or best. Because I think iconic is the last shot, but that's not necessarily his best.
I think it's one of the more memorable ones. Also, in terms of play-by-play calls, is that the most memorable play-by-play call of a Jordan one? Because how many other Jordan
Elo shot?
Yeah, but can you think of what do the play-by-play guys say? And for whatever reason, I can't remember what.
I can remember the Elo one because they go like, "The Bulls win."
Yes. You're right. After that, and I should remember like Costas calling the final shot in '98.
Yeah.
But the Marv Albert one.
Well, Marv's just classic,
right? So I think that helps a little bit that Marv was on the call. So all of that, I'd say it's definitely.
Yeah, I'll go 91 too. So. All right, music quickly.
Musically speaking, I know. Gosh, I was just gonna look up 1970 because it's the albums. I mean, the songs you're getting into square on bubblegum. But The Dark Side of the Moon came out that year. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road came on that year. Let's Get It On, Intervisions. So a lot of good ones. 91 was the year grunge broke through. I think 91 means more. What we're kind of doing here, we're kind of pulling out a little bit more beyond the specifics. 91 changed music. In my life, I don't recall a band or a musical movement that changed the overall scene of music as quickly. And my life goes back to 78, so I can't count the Beatles. That was the biggest one of all time. But when Nirvana came out and hair metal died almost overnight, it felt like in real time, you're like, oh my gosh, what just happened? That was a huge, huge thing in 91.
And they're still iconic. Like you go to Target and you can get a Nirvana t-shirt and kids are wearing Nirvana.
I saw a teenager walking around, rocking like on Fairfax, not that far from Memorial, wearing a Nirvana shirt last week. Seriously, like it's a thing. 91 jumps out for music.
All right, so 91 wins, but we'll go through the movies quick here. And I think 91 is going to win this one too, no offense. But, 73, you've got The Exorcist, American Graffiti. One of my favorite Walt Disney movies of all time, Robin Hood with the fox and all that. Come on now. Great one. We got stuff you at home with that. But again, it's like, 91, you had Silence of the Lambs, Hook. Gosh, I love that movie as a kid. I remember the Happy Meal toys. Robin Williams, Dustin Hoffman, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, Point Break. They should never have remade it. It's already a classic with Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze. Addams Family, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Boys in the Hood, JFK. 91 wins.
Yeah.
91 wins. So,
all right.
Dominating performance.
Pretty solid, yes.
For 91 over 73.
All right.
So I like it. I like it a lot. All right, let's take our final break, and then we're going to do a quick rundown, recap, and everything from the from the Brewers win last night. Now they could potentially sweep it this afternoon in a few hours with Corbin Burns on the mound. Bucks 1 win away tonight from clinching that 1 seed. So we got lots to catch up on, or recap, I should say. Quick break. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Wrapping things up here, catching up on some stuff. Don on the video stream saying, waiting to see how Brewers hitters do after a few more games. Opposing pitching staffs will have done some scouting and developed a strategy against the Brewers lineup by then. So he's kind of simmering it down a little bit. Plain T. Morning, great show today, boys. The offseason acquisitions and the added rookie juice that they bring to the team could make this season impossible not to tune in every night. Let's hope the pitching staff holds up and stays healthy. And even though they're off to a hot start, we should all know to temper our expectations, see if they can maintain their great play. DK, Little Plain T, and myself will see you on Friday to drain some putts. We got Mike saying that his stock riser is Bob Uecker. He had to do the get up, out of here, gone 3 times in a row last night. Yeah, we played that in the first hour too. So I, as for Packers drafting a quarterback, if they take one in the second round, I'll be upset, but I guess it's better than taking one in the first. I'm catching up on some other things here, but I think that's about it.
I could have also had Dan Hurley, by the way, as my stock riser.
Yeah.
Man, is he impressive.
I could have said Big East Conference too.
I know that.
I think we did that one already.
I think we've
before,
done 3 weeks in a row at this point. It's true.
Mm-hmm.
But gosh, Hurley, some coaches rub you kind of the wrong way. And Hurley, man, he seems like a likable coach.
And he's got a little swag to him.
Yeah, that good. There's swag and there's good swag. He's got good swag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people probably know his brother a little, or at least before this, Bobby Hurley.
Right.
And that, so, but no, definitely. That was a tremendous hire by UConn. That's why I was kind of throwing out the question the other day. If you're a Badgers fan, it's make how come UConn can, do this and why can't Badger basketball? By the way, Tyler Wall's coming back for a 5th year. I don't know if everybody's excited about that or not. There's positive reaction on Facebook when we put it up there. So maybe the majority is okay.
I remember you said correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the biggest bummers for you bummer might be too weak of a term, about the 2015 NCAA championship was the realization that that's it for the bet, that they're never going to get back there. I think they might have a better shot at getting back because of the climate of college basketball and the way players can transfer around between the portal, NIL stuff, whatever, all of that. I think any given team has, and maybe this year was the fluke, but I said it last week. I'll say it again this year. I don't think this year was the fluke year. Actually, I'm thinking a way like last year was probably more of the fluke year. I think any team, that doesn't necessarily mean I expect the Badgers back anytime soon, but I don't think it's to the point of it's always going to be blank team, blank team, blank team, blank team. Mm-hmm. Though, notice how, where was I reading this? I think it was Yahoo Sports. I mean, a lot of the Blue Bloods haven't really won a lot over the past couple decades. Mm-hmm. It's mainly UConn, but a lot of them, they're always around. They don't always win. So at this point, I think Wisconsin's got as much of a shot as, Penn State or West Virginia or ASU. Pick any team. I think any of them, and start getting down to the mid-majors and open all that up, St. Mary's, something like that. I think they got as much of a shot.
I'm going to say I've got confidence that Wisconsin hoops will be, how do I want to phrase this? They'll be a Big Ten contender again soon. And I'll say that because I feel like Chris McIntosh won't allow them to get down on the bottom. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I've got confidence. And that's not to say I don't have confidence in Greg Gard. Greg Gard could turn around, that sort of thing. But I feel like I've got confidence that Wisconsin will not be a Nebraska basketball program or something like that, because Chris McIntosh won't allow that to happen.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, they're not going to drop. They're not going to bottom out.
I think, would this be accurate to say Badgers fans have more confidence in Chris McIntosh than maybe a guy like Greg Gard and such right now?
Very much so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because Chris McIntosh made the change to get in Luke
Fickell. And then, Mike Hastings. I think a lot of people are excited about that hire for men's hockey.
Yeah, absolutely. That's an excellent hire. So I think there's the presumption that if Gard doesn't get it done soon, that there will be a dynamic coach coming in to maybe get the Badgers up. And again, this doesn't mean that the Badgers are going to win a championship. They came very close. They were minutes away. Does that mean that they're going to get that? That's a tough thing to do. But the likelihood is better now, not just because of Chris McIntosh, but because of college basketball overall. I'd say the likelihood is better than it was in 2015. I think it was a fair assessment in 2015, but that's changed because of the way college basketball has changed.
Mm-hmm. The field of 68 already has their way too early top 25. But they're very high on Marquette, number 2.
Yep.
Stadium and Athletic has Marquette as number 1. SI.com has Marquette as number 1. How about that?
ESPN had him numbered. Was there? That's the one.
ESPN's got him at 2.
And then they had Wisconsin. If you did the math, after they're like 27th to 28th.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not bad. Is Marquette going to be the number 1 team at some point, plural, next year?
Yes. I think it might be earlier in the season.
Okay.
Although, look at this, though. Like Field of 68 and some of the other ones, I mean, UConn's number 1, and then Marquette's 2. That's 2 conference teams.
Mm-hmm.
Could they just kind of beat each other up there at that point?
That, or could we have 1985 again, have like 3 Big East teams?
Mm-hmm.
Could happen. Will Marquette, last bold prediction, will Marquette be a 1 seed next year in the tournament?
No.
Really? No,
I'm just playing the odds on that. So.
Okay.
But they're very high on FAU for next year. We're talking 5. 4.
Yeah.
Look at that.
But okay, but the regular reminder, they were a top 25 team. Barely, but they were.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good. This is not Sisters of the Poor that somehow went on some run. No, they're pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they'll have players back. So this might be shades of Butler 2010, 2011. Like, oh, they're back?
Yeah.
What?
How about that? So, no, Marquette will be good next year. I'm just playing the odds in terms of a 1 seed sort of thing. Something weird's going to happen again next year.
Well, right.
Yeah.
And would they, to say nothing of getting to the Final Four, which I know they weren't there this year, but again, that's so difficult to do.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. We're going to get cut off here. So really quick, do the Brewers complete the sweep today with Corbin Burns on the mound?
Yes.
I agree.
Will that be okay? Will there be a storyline if Burns doesn't succeed again? Get a win or I
think a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Bucks get a win tonight and secure the 1 seed?
Yep.
I do too. Then would you shut down Giannis for the last 2 games and Holiday?
Not fully, just a bit, just to make sure he doesn't get too
rusty.
Yeah, and that he doesn't get too full of himself because he would go hard.